Hey y'all, welcome to this Gemini full moon reading. Today is actually Wednesday, December 7th, and we are actually under the full moon. It has been raining all day, so the full moon is more like the hidden moon, but we're gonna roll with it. So before we get into everything, let us set the mood by clearing out the energies within the room. Hopefully y'all have had a wonderful day, or at least a relaxing day. Alright, let's clear out this energy. Let's make sure we are in our highest vibration. Let's make sure that we can understand and receive these messages clearly and efficiently. Let us be prepared for the messages that our ancestors, the light workers, our spiritual team, the divine has for us. Let us be able to reject all things that are self-sabotaging, that are from our lower selves, that are imposter syndrome, or anything that keeps us in a low vibration. Ashe, ashe. Okay. And let me pull into the readings. This is right in front of me. The singing bowl. We're going to do an inhale and an exhale, tapping the singing bowl 3 times. Put that away, and let me see if it's in my peripheral. I shall grab. And thirdly, I am going to center myself. It's a lavender spray, all organic, all natural. Lavender allows me to be present in the reading as well as get clear, intuitive messages. So let me inhale this lavender. Now, like I said, it is the Gemini full moon. Currently, we are in Sagittarius season. So it's a doozy. Now, originally for this reading, I was like, you know what? I'm feeling the energy of siblings. Because though the last full moon was the Taurus full moon, we started getting some energies about the mother. So I wanted to explore in further details about the family dynamic, especially when I did an impromptu reading for the Thanksgiving festivities. I was picking up energies in regards to strained family relationships, generational divides, political upheavals, and so on and so forth. So I really wanted to clear out that energy. And if you happen to miss out on that end of the year cutting ties and what to expect for 2023, definitely head over to my Instagram, paintyourtruth_, don't forget the underscore, to get that reading. It was a doozy, deep dive into the deep subconscious. So outside of that, I was just like, okay, for the Gemini full moon, because you know Gemini, it is in regards to the body, it is the arms, the arms, the fingers. So that's what the planet Gemini rules over, or the astrological sign of Gemini rules over, as well as I was feeling the energy of siblings, family, wanting to get what the energy is to come, especially because we're in that holiday season, we're in the family fun or family get together energy and time. But something else is pulling at me where it's like karmic cycles, but not like twin flame or soulmates, but more so like, what have you cleared out, whether it is karmic cycles through the bloodline, whether it's generational curses, whether it's imposter syndrome. There's some type of like karmic. You came into this world, you came into this lifetime, you came into this timeline to do a specific thing. This could be a mission. This could be restoring your family name. This could be work in your past time, in your past life that you didn't complete. And then this lifetime you're supposed to complete. Or it could be paradoxal, where it's like, let's say in your past life you were a rich woman, or you were a prodigy of a magician as a man, or you were whatever in the past life you were. But in this lifetime you're supposed to see yourself from a different perspective, on the different opposite side. So maybe this time you're struggling more. Maybe this time you're supposed to be more class conscious. Maybe this time you're supposed to do something different. So how do you see it from a different perspective? And I'm going to do this for all the 12 signs. I'm going to start off with, of course, Aries all the way through Pisces. But in general, the energies is really going to be, what have you learned, cut clear, discontinued in 2022, and how has that shaped you for 2023, especially going on with the theme of ending cycles, ending ties, what is to be expected, right? But before we get into these cards, let us get into what the article has to say about the actual Gemini full moon. And again, if you celebrate the holidays, whatever holiday it is for you, or you don't, or you're alone, or you are, let's say, in separation from your family, maybe no contact, however you do you, just make sure that you are doing you to the fullest, period. And if you do celebrate, hopefully you had a hell of a time celebrating with your family, your friends, whoever makes you feel loved, seen, and grounded. Okay. The full moon in Gemini wants you to go for your goals. The last full moon of 2022 occurs on December 7th at 11:06 p.m. in the sign of Gemini, ending the story that began during the new moon in Gemini on June 10th, 2021. This is a moment in which we are coming to understand our path in life and subsequently beginning to make plans for the future as we modify our goals accordingly. The dreams we had last year, or even last month for that matter, are changing and evolving at rampant speed into something different or even bigger than we originally thought. Now is the time to lean into the creative process and journey that's beginning to unfold around us. A full moon occurs when the sun and moon juxtapose each other in the sky. At this moment, the earth aligns itself between the sun and moon, allowing the moon's face to light up from the sun. The moon excludes a bright luminosity that shines down on earth, lightening up the world with an intense energy that aims to reveal matters for what they truly are. Astrologically, full moons represent emotional endings, most of which are bittersweet, change, and growth. Since the full moon falls at the end of the lunar cycle, it's the culmination of all the events that have gone down for the last month. This lunation is also heralded as the time in which the temperature drops, which it has dramatically. The days become shorter and the nights become longer, which again, it has dramatically. It signifies the near end of the season, and we are seeing the shift in front of our eyes as the air crisps and we break out our winter wardrobe. In the northern hemisphere, this so-called cold moon marks the early days of Yule, which is occurring in 2 weeks. So finish knitting your mittens and stock up on hot cocoa to warm your soul. In the southern hemisphere, this is onset of summer and the warmer months ahead. This particular full moon falls in the air sign of Gemini. It gives us the push we need to express our needs and evaluate our emotions through logic as we process to a higher spiritual place. The full moon aspects Mars retrograde in Gemini, Saturn in Aquarius, and Neptune in Pisces. On December 6th, the day before the full moon, Mercury, who's the planetary ruler of the moon, enters Capricorn. This will add structure to the wishy-washiness of Mars retrograde and Neptune through practicality and reason. This will allow us to have patience through the process. With Mars retrograde aligning precisely with Gemini moon, we will want to make moves and take action towards transforming and developing our present and future ambitions in an effort to attain our aspirations. However, it will take a while, little longer than we expected. Don't let Neptune's elusive haze and fog stand in the way of your dreams. Use it as a catalyst to insert your visions towards creating the reality you want by achieving the Saturnian energy. On the collective level, overall, frustrations are going to hit a high. Arguments are going to happen due to the lack of certainty and understanding about matters. Neptune could bring out false news and information, causing us to feel stuck and unable to make any progress. Or our insecurities could overtake our heartfelt desires and keep us stuck in the same place. No matter what happens, it's important to believe in yourself at all times, even if you have to fake it until you make it. You shouldn't give up on your dreams and goals. As a famous quote from Rocky Horror shows, "Don't dream it, be it." Don't let obstacles stand in your way of creating the life you desire. Ugh, this is so true on so many levels, because even before the full moon, when it was like in its halfway point, I remember passing a sign, and I pass it almost every day, and it goes something like, if you can believe it, then you can do it. But my remembrance of that quote was, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. Every time I pass down that sign, I'm always like, what if I just spray painted achieve it? Because I always feel like it's almost there. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. And I was doing a reading earlier this week, and I was pulling out the, what's it? Is it Gypsy? No, it is. What is the Oracle deck called? But nonetheless, it was basically like the quote. Here we go. The Kipper. It was this deck. And the quote was basically like, if I can pull it up, because I found it fan-freaking-tastic. And I've looked at the cards, I've read the manual, like I know it all. But it's when it hits, it hits. When it hits, it just hits on a different level, where it's like, I saw it, but now I see it from a different perspective. And it was in regards to the card, occupation number 34. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there was one particular part where I was just like, it resonated for the reading that I was doing. And it goes, if you can see, pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. Aristotle. And that quote has been hitting on so many levels because of, as I was reading this particular article about the Gemini full moon, because we're in the Sagittarius energy, it gives us the illusion like it is go time, that everything's going to happen very serendipitously. Like, we just think things are instantaneously going to happen the way that we want. We're trying to jump into things. We're trying to tie things up. It's the end of the year. Let's wrap this up. You got families, you got flights, you got papers, you got essays, you got end of the business cycle, the business year, wrapping things up, closing out projects, closing out the quarterlies. Like, yes. But also, yes and but, also, we're still going through a global pandemic. There's still a supply chain crisis. There's still ongoing wars. Like, there's still other things going on. And when we think of the overall global scale of things, it makes us feel so overwhelmed, because literally no one person can save the world, so to speak. So it could either put us in a space where we feel stagnated and we feel helpless, or it puts us in a place where we have false hope. Not necessarily false hope, but like false courage, kind of like in a sense of like, all I gotta do, perfect example, January 6th, where it's like, I'm upset, I'm fed up, I'm just gonna bust into the federal building, kick shit up, and then like go home. Not actually thinking that like you're gonna get arrested. Everybody can pinpoint where you were at, from the GPS to your Facebook passwords to your snitch neighbor. Like, did you think about any of this before you reacted to things? And with this energy, you kind of really have to go with the flow with that Sagittarius mutable energy. You can put your best foot forward. You can create the best outcome by presenting on time, or curating things, or networking, or making sure you dot your I's, you cross your T's, or making sure that you submit things. But ultimately, you can only go and do so far and give so much, especially if you are on a more so receiving end, so you're depending on somebody else's outcome or somebody else's response, or you're waiting on somebody else to lend a hand or give the green light. Again, all you really can do is put your best foot forward and let things play out, because astrologically we have Mars in retrograde, and then again it's the end of the year cycle, and as well as life is just lifing and going on as we are trying to navigate the best way possible. So with that article, and I'm going to pair it with where the planetary placements are with the astrology, so hold on to your horses there. But ultimately, what this reading is saying is that show up and show out the best way that you can, especially with that Aristotle quote, which goes, "With pleasure in the work puts perfection in the job." What does that mean? Well, when you do things repetitively, you tend to get better at it, especially when you're actually trying. Whether it's trying to play the piano, whether it's trying to learn a new language, whether it's trying to brush up on your math skills, whatever you do on a repeated basis, you're only going to get better at it. Because not for nothing, you have to do this. Not for nothing, you have to do this repetitively. So you can either do it sloppy for the next, couple of days, couple of months, couple of years, or you can master how to do this thing so it doesn't feel so mundane or strenuous or whatever the case may be. But also when you can find aspects in what you have to do, especially when it's work that you may not necessarily love, or you're doing it out of survival, it's just a job, whatever the case may be. When you do it and you consistently do it and you find aspects about the work that you do, not only do you perfect it, but you find the necessary je ne sais quoi that makes it worthwhile. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're in a supportive community and you're around people that you love, even if you're in a shitty environment doing a shitty job, it makes it more worthwhile, because at least you know you're not alone. That Gemini, the arms, the twins, right? At least you know you're not alone. At least you know that people understand where you're coming from, because they're not just giving you lip service, or they're not just pitying you or saying, "I'm in solidarity, friend." But they show up and show out the way that the railroad workers wanted Joe Biden and the Democratic Party to show up for them to guarantee them sick days. It's that solidarity. It's that mutual energy. It is that infinity sign. You don't know where it ends. You don't know where it begins. It's intersecting. It's all inclusive. It's all engulfing. It is one. It is infinity, right? And that's what allows people to start thinking beyond what they're experiencing, beyond the brutality or the oppression, or beyond the normatives of what society expects or what society desires you to be, especially you Geminis, because not for nothing, you got that bipolar streak going for you. But also it's the creativity, it's the kicking things up, it's keeping you on your toes, whether it's the villains of the Gemini side, which is like the Trump and the Kanyes, or whether it is the more artsy, the more lavish, the more out of the box energy and aspects of Gemini, and that creativity, that spunk. So it's the ability to take aspects of that Mars energy to run on that creativity, to be able to have that visionary as the magician, working with all the tools that you got, whether they're the best tools or they're secondhand tools. They're the tools that you got, so you're going to use the best that you have with your ingenuity and make something out of nothing. So many cultures, so many iconic moments, so many people who did so many great things made do with what they had. They had to meet the need, and they had what they had, and they made it work. And that's why we love them. We revel them today. We hold them up in such high honor, because they made something out of nothing. They created, they envisioned something grand, something different, something evolutionary, maybe even revolutionary. because they were able to think outside the box. They were able to plant those seeds. They were able to use the tools that they have. They were able to be strategic, using that Mars energy, being productive with that Mars energy, with that Gemini magician card, using the sword, using the wand, using the pentacles, using the cups to create something totally different, especially in regards to communication, because we know that Aries sign, that communication sign of Gemini, it wants to be seen, it wants to be heard, it wants to be reveled, but also it wants to resonate. It kind of has that ego aspect to it, I'm not gonna lie, but it's also the ability to connect on a level that other people may not understand or may not have the words to understand. It's kind of like music. Music is a universal language. You don't have to know the language of the music for the music to inspire you, do something for you, amaze you, motivate you, right? So it is that Gemini aspect where it's like, I'm hitting you on so many different levels, and I'm connecting more than the five senses, more than the who, what, when, where, why, more than what can materialize. It's kind of being able to see it from a metaphysics point of view. So it's past the elements, it's past the material. I can hit it on a spiritual level. Music is also spiritual. I can hit it on a cosmic level, because to be able to create something out of nowhere, the thought has to come from somewhere, and we all know the crown is connected to the heavens, correct? So it's that ability to move, to be elusive, to be a luminary, to be able to be that mutable, that flexible, that adaptable, to take all aspects of what you know and what you don't know to make something that is unknown and make it well renowned. Boom. I'm out here preaching a whole sermon. Now, let me tell you where the planetary placements are right now. Mercury is in Capricorn. Mercury goes station retrograde in Capricorn on Thursday, December 29th. So that should be interesting. Mercury going retrograde around like that Christmas holiday, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah time. Communication shall be interesting. Venus in Sagittarius. Venus enters Capricorn at Friday, December 9th, 2022. So that's like Friday. Mars retrograde in Gemini. Mars goes station direct in Gemini at Thursday, January 12th, 2023. Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter enters Aries at Tuesday, December 20th, 2022. Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn enters Pisces at Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Uranus goes station direct in Taurus Sunday, January 22nd at 2023. Neptune in Pisces. Neptune goes station retrograde in Pisces at Friday, June 30th, 2023. So that's a long time. Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto enters Aquarius at Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. Chiron retrograde in Aries. Chiron goes station direct in Aries at December 23rd, 2022. So a lot of resolve. I feel like the holidays will bubble up some stuff, but it's really going to tell you either I'm going to continue with the dynamic as is, or I'm cutting cords because it's the last holidays. So this shall be a doozy for the collective. I'm not going to hold you. But overall, it is the energy of clearing shit up. It's literally like sweeping off your porch. It's either I'm going to keep it or I'm going to leave it. Literally, like even this is the holiday of leaving things and donating things, giving back, charity, very much mutual aid. So this is the energy of getting rid of even things that you may not necessarily need or want. Recycle, reduce, reuse, literally. If it's not for you, release it into the universe. That's it. Cut clear those cords, period. So let's get into the main attraction. So as you can see with the deck, we have the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, and we also have the Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck. As I stated, we will be cracking up the decks, and we will be finding the cards that best represent and resonate with the collective energy for all 12 signs. Like I stated, we will be more so focusing on what are the things that for each sign that you have worked on, that you have moved on from, but also on a karmic level, on a identity level, soul level, a mission level, your personhood level, who you are, where you come from, your family line, your roots, what you stand for, your principles, your discipline, your identity, all that, and then some. What is to come for 2023? Because that's the challenge. I feel like 2022 was very much of like a gearing up. Because when we think about 2022, breaking it down numerology, 2 + 2 + 2 gives us 6. So it's very much in the balance. It's very much those Libra scales. It's very much judgments. It's very much, did you keep your balance? Did you keep your posture? Did you straighten up your bag? Did you find that bass in your voice? Very much. Are you the same person in front of the scenes as you are behind the scenes? And that played out. Remember early in the year, everybody was on demon time. Remember the beginning of the pandemic, everybody was on demon time. People were acting up. People were doing things that were very unbecoming, promoting things that were very dark in nature. One of them folks was Tory Lanez, taking the first left. But now that he's on his third felony, he's on his third felony account. Now things are getting hot. Right? Where does it go? If you can't take the heat, you got to get out the kitchen. Now that demon time is getting hot. Being hugged up underneath Satan's balls ain't as comfortable as it was maybe 2 years ago, maybe in the beginning of the year. And now that things are getting hot, now it's changing the nose. It is Mr. Funny Guy, and not just Tory, but in general. Now that it's getting hot, now receipts are being spilled. If you are on Twitter, you get that reference, especially with the laptop situation. Now that people are being caught red-handed and being seen for who they are, mask off, now everybody wants to cop pleas and point fingers and rearrange the chessboard and talk about they didn't and they was about to and this, that, and the third. Just like roaches, when the lights come on, they scatter. So let's see for the collective. Aries, Ram, Aries, fiery. What has the Aries collective have worked on, and what will they be working on in the year 2023? If it has to do with family and siblings, of course, I will see it in the cards and I will point that out. But overall, what we're checking for is if you did the work. And the gag is, this is not work like job work. It's not like university writing papers work. This is spiritual work. This is karmic work. This is enlightening work. This is undoing certain behavior patterns work. This is about subconscious work. This is about like shadow work. Have you been tagging along? Have you been trying to chase the gays? Have you been trying to hook up with the who's? Like, were you backbiting? Were you not meaning what you said? Not standing on your square, chasing not even rainbows. Well, how does it go? Waterfalls. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Listen to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Tower in reverse, the tower upright. Let's see. One more shuffle for the Aries collective, and let's go. Okay, so Aries collective, let's see what you have worked on. What are the karmic cycles that you have broke? And what will be the main topic, the hot topic for the Aries collective in 2023? Ooh, you saw how that thing jumped out? Ooh, it was ready. Okay, Aries, I guess. Okay. So as y'all can see, with this particular card, this is the Six of Swords. And as you can see, it's literally outside my window. Like, it's rainy. It's giving us, like, it's a dark and stormy night. It's giving us very much like dark cloud, the subtle rain, the gray, the solitude. But as you can see with all this, like, I don't want to say despair, but it could be like stress. It could be like bad energy, bad vibes. It could be that, Aunt Flo week of the month, right? It could be a lot of things for a lot of folks, but it's a lot of mental, it's a lot of deep thoughts, right? But as you can see above it is a rainbow. So I feel like with this, and it's reminding me of a song that still to this day resonates with me. It goes, raindrops are falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Dream big. Dream big. So I feel like with this is like being a visionary, seeing things when nobody else can see it. Gemini energy, Gemini full moon energy, Aries energy. I feel like the ability to see above the clouds, the ability to even bring things from the clouds, whether it's messages, whether it's downloads, whether it's vision, is very much being able to tap into your crown and being able to be a problem solver, right? Everybody has a gazillion things that they can complain about, a gazillion things that they can say that they hate, a gazillion things, this, that, and the third, right? But not too many people can formalize it, can break it down to digestible, everyday terminology. Not everybody can say, okay, how do we break this down? How do we add your 2 cents and your 5 cents and your salt and your pepper and your ingredients and your thoughts and this, that, how do we merge everything together to get a final result that if it doesn't incorporate everything, at least the majority get to have a voice? And when I say a majority gets to have a voice, I mean like everybody got to vote and the majority said yay or the majority said nay, but everybody had equal representation, equal access, and equal say. And I feel like with this particular energy, I feel like this is like more so even on a cosmic level. Like we are on the verge of climate catastrophe. We are on the verge of nuclear warfare. I'm going to be honest with you. We are still in a class warfare. I'm not going to be honest with you. We're going through a lot of things, and Earth in and of itself is at its breaking point. We cannot continue to live the way that we do because it is not only unsustainable for the working and poor class, but also resources are limited. This is a limited world. This is not an unlimited world, an unlimited Earth. There's not an unlimited anything. Everything has its exhaustion. Everything has its finality, right? And we're talking about cutting the cords. We're talking about the end of the year, wrapping things up. So yes, everything comes to an end, even the cycle. Again, though we are in Sagittarius season, and when we talk about Sagittarius, we talk about the Wheel of Fortune. Even with that aspect, when we see fortune, we have to contribute to that. If we don't contribute to that, then we are exploiting, we are extracting. And that fortune easily turns into sour because more money brings more problem. If we're exploiting, whether each other or the earth, then we have to pay for that in karmic, right? Say you hit somebody. You may feel good because you hit somebody, but now you have somebody who's looking to come get you. Now you might hit them with a hit, but now they might hit you with a bullet. You can't determine how somebody else plays this eye for an eye thing. You think you hit somebody, they coming back with a hit, but they might come back with an open hand punch. Or a close fist punch. Then what? And then it just escalates, right? So I feel like with this being a visionary here, with this rainbow, it's like the ability to create a way out of a no way or a limited way. This could be people who are stuck in a certain behavior pattern, or this has just been the way things are. This is the way that we run things. This is just what that is. This is hierarchy, this is order. And it's just like, it's not working. It's not efficient. It's not necessary. It's not providing, let's say, shelter, because this is the outside element. So this could be about housing. This could be about togetherness. As you can see, these sticks, not even sticks, but these swords are even laid out like in order. They look kind of, if you can see it, it kind of looks all over the place, kind of like when you just throw let's say logs of fire into the fireplace. It's not organized. It's not like it's laid out, perfected. It's not like they're the same line or symmetry and the same size. They're just kind of just thrown out there. And I feel like with this, it could represent like a disconnect in thought, a disconnect in unity, a disconnect in communication. And that's the causality of this darkness, because everybody's in their own little corner, doing their own thing, disorganized, maybe even feeling as if they're the only ones going through the pain, the heartache, the setbacks, the duress, the mental stress. And you being able to see above that, not because you're not experiencing it, not because it's not hard on you, not because you don't care, but Aries, the ability to be like, yes, and I'm still going to charge forward. I'm still going to plant my seeds. I'm still going to claim my victories. I'm still going to be in solidarity. I'm not doing anything out of, let's say, strictly altruism. I'm also doing it because I see the value in it. I benefit from it. I believe in it. I got skin in the game in it, right? And then we have here with the release. The release is matching this image, bar for bar. You saw me shuffle. Bar for bar, they're matching. As you can see with release, this is crown chakra energy right here. This is third eye energy right here with this particular card. This is basically saying as you can see, it's like a cemetery. It's literally like letting go, like death, like let it go, scorpionic energy. With this, and you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, so let me raise it up. Hopefully you can. I'm trying to give you this dim light energy, but the card is little to no sun. And it's supposed to speak to that energy of feeling bleak, of feeling cold. And it's the weather. It's like it's cold, it's dreary, shorter days, as the article stated, darker days, longer days, colder days. And depending on where you live, it could be even, darker and then colder, like Norway, where like half the year is dark. So you don't see a lot of sun rays, but as you can see in this little corner, you're seeing the sun's trying to break through. And the only time you can have a breakthrough is when you release. Something cannot come in if it's tight, if it's forceful, if it's restrictive. It can only come in when you release that tension. And I feel like with this release here, right here, it could be stagnation. It could be harsh self-criticism, so it's like you'll never be good enough. It could be always ways of thinking or holding on to the past, not letting go of things. It could be the holding on to things that no longer exist. So this could be, back in my days, or I prefer things that way, or I wish we were back to the 1980s. It's like we don't live in those times. We don't have no time machine. We cannot manipulate the timeline that severely. Like, the best you can do is deal with the now and then strategize for a better tomorrow. So it's not just rays trying to poke through the thick gray clouds, but it's the sun rays able to penetrate those dark clouds and then be able to move the clouds so the whole sun can come out, right? But I feel like with this, especially the way that she's covering and hovering her face, it could be, gender fluid. It doesn't matter who's reading this. I feel like you have to believe in yourself. You got to trust in yourself, right? With the crown chakra, intuitively what it is, how it resonates with you, Aries, and how to go about it. But you have to trust in yourself. This is crown chakra energy. This is very much I am who I am, and I trust in who I am. With this particular energy, if you don't listen to the thoughts in your head, you dismiss them, you overly critique them, or you think, if I say this or I do that, they're going to automatically say no, so I'm not going to bring that up, or I'm just going to close my mouth, or I'm just going to let things slide, I'm just going to play small. Nothing's ever going to get done. And it's just going to continue this cycle of feeling despair, feeling overburdened, and this rainbow from the heavens remain on the heavens, and they never come down to earth. This restoration never comes back to earth. So it's kind of like you're in limbo and purgatory, kind of the energy of like you're falling, kind of like from, like, let's say from an airplane, but instead of like you actually hitting the ground, you're just falling. So it's just like a never ending cycle of just like never stability, never happiness and peace, but the illusion or the desire, the chasing of the idea, the chasing of the idea of peace, the chasing of the idea of solidarity, the chasing of the idea of stability, but never actually having it in the practical. So Aries, you did some work when it comes to cutting and shedding those cords, thinking of different things to do, move, visions, creativities. But now it's time to bring the spiritual, the luminary, the even, let's say, psychological, the shadow It's time to take those lessons learned and then implement them into the practical, into the material, into the physical. You cannot live in your head and live in your dreams, live in your, let's say, rhyme book, live in your journal, live as the main star in your head. Now it's to bring that forth into the material. So that's what I see for the Aries collective. You did some work, but it really is the beginning. So thank you for tuning in. And now we're moving on to Taurus. So Taurus collective. Whoa, whoa, gang, gang, gang. What is to be expected for the collective? Ooh. Hey, okay. Yeah. So we have Strength card here. Let's see what we have with the Chakra wisdom. What you got? What you got? What you got? What you got? What's to be expected? What have we cut off? And what we are bringing in for the 2023 new year. So we have Strength card here, and we have Wisdom here. And I'm not even gonna hold you. You know what? Taking it back, Aries, quick little snippet, and we're gonna jump right into Taurus. You know how I said release is the crown chakra? And I was just talking about earlier in the reading how with Gemini, when it comes to the body, they are represented by the arms, but also arms and fingers, like the whole shebang, right? But that's also in regards to the head. In regards to Gemini full moon, the aspect is the arms, but the reading was for Aries, and Aries is the head when it comes to the body, because you know, different parts of the astrology rules different parts of the body. So Aries actually rules the head. That release card was for the crown chakra. So a lot of this is in your head. There's parts of it in your head you need to discard that's not going to work for you. It's going to keep you in the limbo. It's going to keep you in that release energy, not being able to decompress. But also part of it is bringing those ideas into reality, practicality, not just sitting on the energy of what could be or what if. It's actually bringing that into what is, the actual tangible, the who, what, when, where, why, the five senses and everything. Now, to Taurus. I even said that because with the Strength card here, this is Leo energy in regards to the actual physical body. This would be the heart. But I said this because Wisdom is the green card, the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is actually connected to Taurus energy. So I wanted to say this in regards to Taurus, and put Taurus in the league to receive this message, but also for Aries to understand why the connection is hidden. There's going to be a lot of love for y'all. There's going to be a lot of love for y'all. There's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of new beginnings, but it's going to be courage, especially for my Tauruses who've not had a good time in love. Now, this could be romantic love. This could be even agape love. So love that is non-transactional. It's love just for the love of love. So this is like love for living, love for art, love for humanity, right? This is love for my children. It's unconditional love. Some people have had a hard time in filial love. So this is love, either you receiving that love from your parents. So this is the child. So it's maybe a difficult relationship receiving love from your parent, your family, your community, or even difficult for said child to relate to the community. So maybe you've been the ostracized, the black sheep, the quote unquote weirdo, whatever the case may be. But I feel like coming into 2023, because you learned in 2022, is how to love, but love you first. I feel like you have romanced yourself, you have loved yourself, you have healed yourself, and not just from the point of view of, oh, I'm cute, or I have this thin waist, or woo, 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 the superficial. I feel like you've done that real gunk work where it's like, I'm still a cute bitch, even if I have tired eyes. I'm still a cute bitch, even if I have stretch marks. I'm still a cute bitch, even if I've been through some traumatic stuff. It's like you are your biggest ally, you're your biggest advocate, you're your biggest lover, you're your biggest protector, and you love yourself unconditionally because you know what you've been through, you've known what it's like to not receive love, you know what it's like to be in toxic, what you deemed was love, but it really wasn't. You've been there, you've done that, and you conquered it. Especially if you are in your 30s and 40s, like you're really in that grown woman energy, is because you've lived and you've learned. And because you've lived and you learned, you can also be able to educate others, be the example to others, kick wisdom, spit gems, tell the younger girls what you done did, what you didn't do, what you could have done better, pass down that knowledge. Very much auntie, maybe not a sage, maybe not like a crown woman or a crown stage, but you might be at the point where you're at that motherhood stage, whether you want to have kids of your own, whether you desire to have kids, or you're just in that energy where you're like, you're not a, let's say, young spring chicken, but that does not mean that you're an old hen either. It's just like you live life now, you know now, you've experienced now. You're not like green, you're not wet behind the ear, you're not gullible, you're not naive, like you know what things are, you can explain things. And because you're able to do that, not only does that make you more sexy, that makes you more attractive, that makes you more alluring, but it's also the ability to not give yourself up. And it's not from a point of view or point of space where it's like being a prude, so it's like, oh, I don't want to be a hoe like them other hoes, but it's more from the point of view of like, I know who I am, I know what I've been through, I know what I bring to this proverbial table. If you don't love me like I love me, I'm just gonna exit out. And I don't give a damn how cute you are, how much money you have, or how much nice things that you can say to me. If it's just not resonating, it's just not resonating, and I don't have to force it. If it doesn't feel like how I love me, then I'm just not into it. And it's being very, not even arrogant, but it's very much stable. This Leo energy. Leo is one of the fixed signs. And you can see this with the Wheel of Fortune, which is represented by Sagittarius energy, the Sagittarius energy season that we're in, right? We have the Leo, we have the Taurus, we have the Sagittarius, we have the Aquarius that make up the Wheel of Fortune. This fiery energy, this ability to see our karmic cycles, Taurus, but also to be able to see where we have healed and where we have expanded, loved, and atoned, and just release onto the world to receive the love that we give. And I feel like with this, I feel like you're going to meet a significant other that matches your sexy, whether you're a woman or a man, a non-binary, however it works out for you. But I feel like you're going to meet a partner that resonates with you, and it doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you are begging, you are yearning. It doesn't feel like what it was in the past with others, because you're no longer attracted to that energy signature. It's kind of like taking it back, not to being a prude. It's kind of like, I know you want me, and if I were you, I would want me too. And because I know I am desirable is why I'm closing up shop. Not because I'm necessarily a prude, but because I know my worth, I know my value. And I'm just not going to undercut myself like that. I'm not going to just discount myself like that. I'm not going to let you get your jollies off, do what you got to do for you, and then leave me high and dry. It's very much that energy. If it does not feel reciprocal, if it does not feel like homostasis, if it does not feel grounded, then you're just not interested. And with this, you know intuitively what you deserve and what you have put in, because you've been there and have done that in the past where it wasn't. And with this rose, I feel like this rose, the only reason why it's not colored in is because it's to come in 2023. It's kind of like a white rose. A white rose can represent peace, but it can also represent like someone has passed at a funeral. But I feel like with this white rose, it's like something that is new, something that hasn't begun yet. It's about to spring up. It's about to gain its color, so to see, its passion, its desirability, its pleasure. It's to come. And I feel like with the sun, it's going to make you feel warm. It's going to make you feel grounded. It's going to make you feel seen and loved and desirable. It's going to feel like a warm blanket. It's going to feel like that warm, hot cocoa in a very brisk winter morning. It's going to feel like your heated blanket. It's going to feel nourishing and nurturing and calm and protective and solid. And it's not going to feel anything hasty. It's not going to feel anything narcissistic. It's not going to feel weighted out and toxic. It's going to feel so good that some of you Tauruses, I'm going to be honest with you, you might slip back into imposter syndrome. You might feel like, is this real? Am I dreaming? I don't want to mess this up. Do I deserve this? Bump all that noise, like Aries. Bump all that noise and know that you deserve what you are receiving, because you have earned it. Again, you know what you desire, you know what you want, because you've earned it, you worked for it. They have too. They have done their work just like you've done your work. if you know that you are getting the love that you give, you're getting the love that you deserve, then you deserve that shit. You don't need to question it. You don't need to know the who, what, when, why. If it's free choice and they are giving you their best, accept that, because you deserve that, period. And with this wisdom, Taurus energy here, Taurus is also associated with the Empress card. And as you can see with this wisdom, this particular entity has a womb, has the earth as their womb, and Taurus is an earth sign. So I feel like with this, it's like speak into existence the love that you desire. So many times people are like, I want to be loved, I want to be in a relationship, I want, but they have no idea how to be in a relationship. They have no idea how they come off in a relationship. Are they even desirable to the person that they would want, or the person they're trying to attract? A lot of times people look at dating like it literally is a menu. I mean, when you go on these dating sites, it's very much list all these things. Let's see if someone finds it attractive, or they think that you're a good pair, and then like just forge some type of relationship. Let's forge some type of conversation, and hopefully like something goes beyond that. And I feel like with wisdom, it's like, no, you know what it is. If it feels forced, it's just not it. And you're gonna speak that because you know it from a place of strength and wisdom. You only gain strength and wisdom from experience. Again, that practicality, that consistency, that knowing, because you've been there and you've done that. Anything that you do, you have to do it within practice. You got to do it within repetition. You don't become strong or have strength just because the F of it. You have to work out, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, whatever the case may be. You have to consistently put in that work to receive that prize. Same thing as wisdom. No one's just born with wisdom. People may be born with certain skills, may be born with certain talents. Some people, they can listen to an instrument and pick it up that quick. Some people, they just have a knack for cooking. Like they just have great taste buds. They can mix and match the flavors. That is this Taurus. But nonetheless, like everybody has their thing. But for the most part, no matter how good you're at anything, to be better at it, to be the best at it, you have to practice. And I feel like with this wisdom, your practice has came from life. Your practice has came from living. Your wisdom has came from learning and growing with this dove, this peace, letting things go and making room for the new. And I feel like with this, you're birthing and bringing into this 2023 year, love in action, love in solidarity, love showing up and showing out, love in consistency, love in maturity. Ooh, we love that. And I feel like with this, it's blessings in a relationship, a solid relationship, a renewed relationship, a longevity relationship. But this relationship could also be a part of your cycle, a part of your team, your spiritual destination, your spiritual mission. And I feel like you might end up growing a family together. You might end up meeting and having your families engaged together. You might end up creating a community together, influencing each other, building each other up. But I see with this particular energy, it's like, I'm sensing like Sade's like, you gave me the kiss of life. Like, it's just that sense of like the here and now, the sense of like, this feels right. Like I've been through hell and back, and this is the final destination. It was hell. But I'm glad as hell that I came back from that to receive this. And Tauruses, you are receiving not only strength, not only wisdom, but love, consistency, stability. And I feel like a lot of y'all are going to get into your real grown woman shit in action, really get into your grown beat face, very much, toning, very much dedication, appraisal, investment, and not necessarily financial investment, but it's very much of like, I know what I want. I know how I best look, or how I best move, or how I best feel. So this is what I'm going to do. If I know that starting off my day with a cup of tea works better for me and my overall mood and my ability to be efficient, then I'm going to start off with tea, then let's say maybe coffee or whatever else. So it's that ability to step into your personhood fully, your authenticity fully, and be loved and love at the same time while embracing these new aspects in your life. Love in who you are, love in the work that you do, and love on the person who loves you. Ooh, we love that. Okay, Tauruses, thank you. Moving on to Gemini. Let's see what is going on with the Gemini collective. All right, Gemini, this is your full moon, literally. So what do you have for the collective spirit, the spiritual team, the spirit guides? Okay, air sign popping up. Two of Swords in reverse. If we're gonna have the Two of Swords, you might as well have it in reverse, honestly. So, what is the Chakra wisdom card for it, Geminis? We have abundance. Oh, I love it. So, abundance is the yellow card, which is the solar plexus. So this is very much giving us like the center of our body. So this could be seen as like the gut. Would be like Virgo energy, which Virgo and Gemini both share the planet of Mercury. So, and then we have the swords here. Don't we love it? Don't we love it? Following your gut. Ooh. Well, the Two of Swords in reverse here, it's like not letting blockages be blockages, or not taking no for an answer, or very much like one man's trash is another man's treasure. It's very much seeing the good side of something or things. The ability to use that magician energy, turn no's into yeses. That ability to change the dynamics. Now you see it, now you don't. The ability to play the role. The ability, not finesse in a predatory, manipulative way or exploitative way, but finesse in a way of like style and grace. The ability to be able to create something, do something, amaze something, capture something. The ability to be like, wow, like, oh, the ability to break the mold. With abundance here, as you can see, this particular man, and I know the backstory to this card, this man was drinking because he had a problem, and he done wasted his money and dropped it into the sewer. But this little girl said, you know what? I got bigger plans and I got bigger dreams. I don't know who done left this money in the sewer, but I'm feeling to invest that money and get me a house. Because as you can see behind this little girl right here, there's a house right there. So long-term vision. Again, somebody else's L, somebody else's loss, is somebody else's gain here. So the money that he was literally throwing down the sewage, this little mommy picked it up and bought herself a house, an abundance. As he was wasting his money and wasting his wealth and his time and energy, this particular little mommy was like, you know what? I'm going to finesse. Not finesse in a way of stealing or lying or manipulating or exploiting, but finesse in a way of like, if you throw out your, let's say, for example, you throw out your recyclables, you throw out your plastic bottles, your glass bottles, your whatever, your tin cans. If someone picks that up and then recycles it and then makes money off of it, you can't come back and be like, oh, I need me a cut. Didn't you put them outside your door? Like, wasn't you calling that trash? Wasn't you leaving that for the recycling team? You can't come back around talking about you need a percentage. You could percentage the on my face. How about that? And I feel like with this energy, it's like, it's not taking advantage as opposed to seeing the opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity. It's like opportunity knocks once. It's like grab life by the balls. It's very much of that energy of go time. But it's not just go time in a sense of like, let's be honest, like it's tarot, it's oracle, whoop-de-woo. I don't know what's in the sewage, but I'm pretty sure there's not a couple of $100,000 or a couple of millies in the sewage that you could just fish out and get those golden coins to get a house. Now, if I am proven to be wrong, please tell me your story. Let's make sure a major news outlet catches onto that story and you get the props that you deserve. But for the most part, that's just not what that is. But what the energy and the messages that I'm getting and receiving is that use the cards in your vicinity. right? What do I mean by that? Mutual aid, collective bargaining, solidarity, policy making, seeing what's on the books, even if it's something that's not practiced usually, but if it's on the books, it's on an alternative, you have a cause, you have a claim. Now, as you can see here, just because you have a cause, just because you have a claim, does not mean that people won't accept it. We see that all the time, right? All the time, especially in this America with 3K's history, right? Whenever someone wants to break the mold, expand on things, change up the status quo, there's always going to be pushback. But that does not mean that you fold. That does not mean that you stop. That does not mean that you consider what the alternative wants you to do. What they want you to do is to do nothing, right? They want this tool stores to be upright, so you do nothing. So you're stagnated. So in between time, in the meantime, as you are arguing, as you're stuck in your head, as you're doing the same thing over and over again, the literal definition of insanity, things continue as normal for them while they're banking on the fact that you don't have much of protection, you don't have much of a community, you don't have much of a vision, a drive, a network, a strategy, or anything. So what you need to do, if let's say you don't have the actual manpower, and let's say you don't have the actual gazillions of dollars, what you gonna do is use your truth from the gut. What you gonna do is use your passion. What you gonna do is be methodical, is be strategic, is work in solidarity, is get your message out there, is resonate. That's what you do. Because for most people, and this is most people, the working class, the poor class, you don't get anything to change by one-off here and there. The one-offs who get things to change are the people who are like the millionaires and the billionaires, the ones who have influence. But everyday regular people with a no name, just working class, they don't have individual power in the sense of having collective power when it is, let's say, a tenant organization, or let's say a rally, or let's say we're in these streets, we are protesting, we're in these streets, we are marching, we're in these streets. However it looks like, when you fight together in solidarity, you win. And that's the abundance. Saying the truth for what it is, standing in your authenticity, saying it with your gut. Because that's how you truly become a magician. A lot of times people think about magician, they're like, oh, turning metal into gold. They could think of magician like, where did the quarter go? Did it go behind your ears? Did it behind my back? Those are niceties and very drummed up theatrical ways of magic. But a very easy and practical form of magic is the ability to define your reality and then create it. The ability to create a literal thing, whether it is a literal playground for the kids, or whether it's a legitimately a housing complex that it's safe and healthy, and the tenants have input, and it's socially acceptable, and it's a community, and the needs are met. Like, nothing gets done without a thought, but for it to actually manifest, you have to put that action behind it. But again, most people don't have the power until they collectivize. And that one turns into 10, that turns into 30, that turns into 100, that turns to 1,000, that turns into hundreds of thousands. Then you are, as a collective, bigger, badder, wealthier than any corporation, than any bank, than any elite. Because together, in solidarity, we win. But separated, we turn into alcoholics. No, sir. But that is the collective reading for Gemini. I'm sensing this energy of like, you have plans, you have dreams, you have desires, but you have to use the opportunities, again, the tools that are disposable in your toolbox, but also the strategy to do it. As you can see with Little Mommy, she had to fish that thing out, right? Maybe she didn't have the strings originally. Maybe she didn't have that sticky substance to get the coins out. Maybe she didn't even know what house she wanted or how to get there or anything. But she had to have the drive. She had to have the vision. She had to have the know-it-all. She had to know the strategy and then be committed to it. Because Lil Daddy didn't become an alcoholic overnight, right? And Lil Daddy didn't just, throw millions of dollars into the sewer overnight. This took time. Just like this, the house behind her, that's going to take time too. Now let's move to, thank you, Gemini. So let's move on to Cancer. Say shake it like a dancer. Okay, Cancer Collective, what you giving me, sweetie? And Whitney. Whitney was definitely Capricorn. Not Capricorn, a Cancer when she was with us. R.I.P. Whitney Houston. Oh, y'all gonna see the Whitney Houston movie? Let me know if y'all gonna see it. Daughter of Wands. Clarify that for the Cancer Collective. Ooh. I don't know why I came up with that. The female singers, the female artists is Cancer. Like, what? I know you lying. Y'all saw me shuffle. Oh, excuse me. Same oracle card color, not the actual same oracle card. I legitimately thought this was abundance. Like, again, I was supposed to be like, nah. But again, this is the solar plexus, so this is like the middle of the body, so this is like the abdominal area, and this is very much like the gut energy, right? With this particular card with enlightenment and this Daughter of Wands, I feel like this is maybe about kids, but it is very much not even like gender based here. What I'm feeling with this particular energy is the energy of like, for my Cancer Collective, what you ended and what you're going into. I feel like with this is believing in yourself, Cancers. I feel like with this particular energy is like believing in your own sauce, believing in your own magic, and knowing that you have purpose, you have value, and knowing that someone else's yuck doesn't undermine your yum. Ooh, don't we love that? Someone else's yuck does not undermine your yum. Period. And I feel like you had to learn that. You had to see the beauty within, to see the purpose within. Especially if you've grown up in a household where people try to play you for small, or people undermined you, or you were in a household growing up where you had to play small, where it's like, you don't want to be like those fast-tailed girls, or don't be pompous, don't be arrogant, stay humble, or anything like that. I feel like with this is very much like, no, I do actually have high cheekbones and they're actually cute. And you know what? I am really good at physics, so I'm going to brag about that. Like, it's very much believing in your own magic. I don't want to say hype. I really do believe in magic and believing in your own magic. And as you can see here with the serpent, it's an 8. And I feel like before you can really shine to the world, you have to believe that you are worth capturing the gaze, but not the public gaze in the sense of like, I want people to fawn over me, but your own gaze, seeing your own magic, seeing your own value, seeing your own purpose, seeing your own va-va-voom. And with this enlightenment here, with the sun out, I feel like you had to learn this. Maybe the women in your family, maybe they showed themselves short. Maybe they were heavily under patriarchy, so they did things out of survival, or they did things because it economically suited them better. Maybe they didn't have a time to really invest in themselves. Maybe they were, let's say, a traditional housewife, and they kind of had to focus on the house, the family, the home, the kids, and you or your mother never necessarily got to invest in themselves. Maybe learned a passion, learned a hobby, had some friends outside of the typical people that they've known and grown up with. Maybe they never really listened to themselves or trusted themselves. And this is the time and space where it's like, you know what, I want to try new things. You know what, I want to go back into my hobbies. You know what, I want to put myself first. You know what, I want to take that class. And I feel like with this, it could be even like a reflection, a mother-daughter reflection, in the sense of like, your mother came to that conclusion because they saw you break down barriers. They saw you do things that typically women don't do. They saw you speaking up for yourself. They saw you divorce, let's say, a trash relationship, or a relationship that just was unfulfilling. It doesn't necessarily have to be toxic or trash, but it just wasn't fulfilling. It just wasn't it for you, or whatever the case may be. I feel like it could have been a mirror effect where the mother becomes the student, or the mother becomes the child in this particular aspect, because it's like they've learned from you, or even you, where it's like, oh, I've learned from my mother, where it's like, oh, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to carry on these maladaptive behaviors, or do things that are unbecoming, or belittle myself because of patriarchy, or whatever the case may be. I feel like this enlightenment came out of, like, again, a mirror effect, learning from somebody else's experience, whether it's anecdotal, learning from seeing someone else experience. But what I'm seeing with this is like a window through the soul, a window through their eyes, a window through their truth. So some type of like access, the ability to see it, the ability to understand it, and then be able to judge it from a point of view of not like, you're evil, you're bad, you're horrible, but from a place of like, I know why that was, but that's not going to be my story. That's not going to be my decision. That's not going to be my end all be all. And out of nowhere, but it's hitting me right now. If you were done wrong, I feel like there's a karmic, like a literal fiery karmic, like what goes around comes around. Especially if it was exploitative, especially if it was like someone tried to take you for your money, someone tried to take you for a dummy, someone tried to take advantage for their own gain, especially materially. I feel like it very much, what goes around comes back around, especially in 2023. And if there was some type of misuse of power, misuse of, again, child adult dynamic, there is a healing from that. And I do see what that is there's a healing and an advocacy within that. I feel like for a small portion of Cancers, it resonates in the sense of like, let's say you were violated, now you're like an advocate for children so they don't become violated. It is one of those type of aspects, Cancer. But I'm seeing with this is like learning to love yourself, learning to be patient with yourself, learning to forgive yourself, but also learning to stand up for yourself, learning to assert yourself as a cardinal sign, Cancer. But also learn from the past so you can make better decisions. Not necessarily because I don't want to be like them, like poo-poo them, but it's like, I just don't want to live that narrative because it's just not my narrative. It doesn't resonate with me. It's not my energy signature. Cut, clear, and release those cords. Okay, Leo. Thank you, Cancers, for being with us. Let's move on to Leos. Fully come out, so I'm not gonna take. But Leo, what do you have? I'll take that because I flew out. Okay, we have the Five of Swords here. Yikes. Let's see what we have with the Chakra Wisdom. What is going on with Leo Collective? Where they're cutting off and where they went 2023. Yikes, victim. What is going on, baby? So for my Leo Collective here, we have this earthworm that's literally cut in two, and we have all these spicy swords out here. So this could be self-sabotage, this could be betrayal, but it could also be like, sometimes you gotta go through it to get over it. Like sometimes you have to go through the trenches, you gotta go through the mud, you have to like, I don't wanna, it kind of like, but like, this is where I'm getting the energy. It's kind of like when something has became like gangrene or like rotten, like let's say a part of your body, you have to like cut it off and release it. Oh, little quick note, since I'm talking about the body and I didn't do it with Cancer, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't do it with Cancer. Cancer, on the body, you are the chestices, you're the literal breastises. So this is why I'm picking up a lot of mother energy here. So it could be, you know, titty blues, because you was once on the titties and you had titty blues with your moms. Or it could be learning from that mother energy, that mother line, that mother karmic cycle, breaking that, right? Detaching from the boob, detaching from the, and instead of it being the placenta and the umbilical cord, in this sense, it's like cutting from that karmic cycle, that energy signature that no longer resonates with you, right? Now hopping back into Leos, you are the heart. Boop, 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 boop. Leo, you're the heart. So with this, it could be someone broke your heart. Maybe you broke somebody else's heart. Maybe you broke your own heart. Deception. It could have been like not seeing things for what they were, or wanting to see things in your own way. It could be like even like I think I can, and something comes like literally out of nowhere and just hits you, and now you're like totally off your bike and off your square and off of everything that you known to be what you known to be. And then with this victim card here, this is again the heart chakra, Taurus energy. So what I'm sensing here, especially again Leo heart, this could be a hard time in discussing your feelings, conveying your feelings. This could be like a self-sabotaging, so doing the most for other people, but they don't got it for you. This could also be toxic relationship, narc relationship, very push and pull, avoidant attachment style. So this is someone who leaves you on red, who doesn't communicate. This could be someone who is insecure attachment style, so they're clingy, they're obsessive, they're demanding. But with this victim, I don't know if it's you, the victim, or you put someone in the victim position. And this is also, I know the story about the Oracle card too, and these are supposed to represent leaves, and this is the autumn-ish season. I feel like sometimes people get got because they try to play a game and not understand how the rules are played. It's interesting because I was earlier today watching a video on Twitter about this guy talking about how he scams scammers out of money. So as the scammer's trying to get money out of him, he flips the script and actually gets money out of them. And this is what I'm seeing with this. I feel like, because it is actually the backstory to this particular card victim. This squirrel was collecting a gang of acorns and storing it up for the winter. But this dragon wasn't storing nan acorns. Now the winter is coming and this dragon has nan acorns. It starts looking at the squirrel and says, hey, since you got a gazillion mini acorns, I will trade with you and your little gazillion mini acorns this big old fat old GMO acorn. It's the biggest acorn you ain't ever seen. And the squirrel's like, what? You want my little itty bitty tiny ass acorns for this big old acorn? Bet. I'ma do the trade. Plot twist, the dragon had nothing in that big old acorn. It was just a costume. It was an empty vessel. There was nothing in there. But because the squirrel was too busy thinking like, oh, I want bigger, I want better, I want flashier. You know, I've never seen a big old acorn before. I've never seen an acorn the size of a freaking house cat. But I'll trade that in because this person or this dragon told me to. So, and sometimes we put ourselves in precarious situations. If we would have just stepped back and thought about it, looked at it from a 360 point of view, we would have realized that we're getting got. If we would just ask a little bit more questions, if we would have felt things out, if we would have took our time, if we would have did some Google searches, if we would have just, matched up the names, like it's very much of that. And I feel like with Leo, it could have been like high expectations and not receiving it back. It could be thinking that if you play the game, the proverbial game, that you'll receive something on the back end. It could be self-sacrificing, like you did the most, you jumped over hoops and this and the third, but like it wasn't reciprocated. I feel like this energy, especially if y'all have been working in very precarious workplaces, stressful workplaces, this could be finance, this could be tech, very much of the brain. And maybe you thought, if I give my all, the employer is going to reciprocate. If I give my all, the employer is going to appreciate. If I give my all, the employer is going to promote me. And then now you're here like, not only did none of that stuff happen, but I'm also getting the pink slip. I feel like some of y'all are realizing that, yes, you are a victim, but also like, what was the role that you played in your victimization so you don't get that again? And I feel like with this, if you're playing small or you're playing like, let's try to appease people, to get people to like you, get people on your side, you're stopping that here and the now. And not only are you stopping that in the here and the now, you're no longer going to ever put yourself in the victim position. You're never going to allow someone to victimize you. But you're also going to say things with your chest now. You're also not going to allow people to put you in a trick bag. You're also not going to allow people to curate their image of you or what role they want you to play in their lives. You're no longer just going to be just so easy, just so available, and just so accommodating. I feel like with this, it's like once you put yourself back together again, not only are you going to get your justice due, whether it's atonement, whether it's fighting back, whatever the case may be, or you might just sit there and tell your truth, or cut back your access, cut back your emotions, cut back your investment, pull back, love on yourself, heal on yourself, however it goes. But what I do see for y'all, Leo, is learning the lessons of how you got God, how you got betrayed, how you got back, so however it resonates with you, and learning why it happened like that, how it happened like that, and why it can no longer happen like that. So, ooh, Leos, wow, indeed. Thank you for coming through. Let us move on to the Virgos. Virgos. I feel like more than anything, insulting. I feel like more than anything, honestly, before we go into the Virgo, I feel like more than anything, where it's just like, you knew this shit wasn't it, but you were just like, I'm trying to be comfortable. Like, it's like, I'm doing somebody a favor, or because they asked. I know they kind of down on their luck, I didn't really want to do it, but okay, fine. And then it ends up like, no good deed goes unpunished. It ends up the way that you knew it was going to happen. You were just like, so why the F did I do it in the first place? And now you got to ask yourself, why did you? Sometimes you got to look that person in the mirror, and that person who's betraying you is actually you. Yikes. But let's move on. Let's move on to the Virgos. Chakra wisdom oracle card. What do we have for the Virgo collective? What are we cutting off? As well as going forth in the 2023 year. Now, when this card was falling kind of crazy. So it could have been upright, but final position, it was in reverse. So this is the 7 of Swords in reverse. And as you can see, this is a fox. And what it's insinuating is that this fox is sneaky, conniving, can't trust it, right? But then we have the Faith card here. And the Faith card is very much the third eye. So with the third eye being here with Faith, and as you can see, do I have mine? Yes, they're both here. So these are both amethysts. They're different colored amethysts. This is a darker one, as you can see. This is the lighter one. I got them on vacation in Mallorca in 2018. So I say this to say it's very much Aquarius energy, because the amethyst is on this card right here too. So I just wanted to kind of flex. But no, for real though. Because this is very much the third eye, this is very much trusting in self. This is very much trusting in who you are and in your intuition. It's kind of like what's understood don't need to be explained. Like what you know, when you got that gut feeling, when you like, oh, this is about to be a get out situation. So let me get my black out of here. It's very much like that intuition. It's what makes the back of your hair stand up. It's that I had a dream, so therefore I can't go to the mall today. It's very much of like, some might say superstitions, some might say woo-woo, some might say the unexplainable, the metaphysics, however it resonates for you. But that is what that is here. And I feel like with this is like, as you can see here, this woman is, again, understanding the backstory to these cards. This woman here is pregnant, but she's trying to manifest the world into existence. And way that I interpret this is like bringing forth ideas, grounding ideas, purposeful ideas, practical ideas. When we think about Earth, outside of all the capitalist manipulation of what Earth is and what Earth is supposed to be, Earth is here to provide everything that we need. And when I mean that, I mean food. No matter where Earth is, something, someone, some species is eating, living, breathing on this Earth. Now, this Earth has turned into something other than what it is here intended to be for not just humans, but for the vegetation, for the microbes, for the animals, for everything in between, right? The things seen and the things unseen. But because of the system that we live in particular with capitalism, everything is for exploitation, everything is commodified. So to bring forth an Earth that is actually savable, that's actually livable, and actually meant to do what it's supposed to do, which is take care of our needs. And again, not our needs in the sense of just solely humans, but our needs in the sense of like everything that exists on this planet, the known and unknown. For the ability to bring that forth, we have to be visionaries, right? Very much of that third eye, very much to bring the unknown, the unseen, the dark, the mystical into the physical, into the practical, into the material, right? And with these other two deities, they are deities, and they represent just the energy of like things that we believe in. So like this is peace, this is harmony, this is love, this is trust. All things that are meant to define us as humans, define us as culture, define us as our character, our morals, or ethics, or even religion, so on and so forth. And with this, with faith, is like, faith is not just the ability to like pray or just the ability to believe, but faith is the ability to bring the unknown, the unseen, the mystical, the non-tangible, and create it, claim it, and then sometimes not even a creation, more so than a discovery, right? For example, once upon a time ago, people did not believe in germs because you literally cannot see germs. If I dirty my hands and then just wipe it away, if there's no crust, if there's no residue on my hand, I can technically say my hand is clean. But underneath a telescope, we realize that no, it's not clean, and germs do exist. Try explaining germs to somebody who lives in the 16th century. You're not going to get far. But explaining germs to people in 2022, people get it directly. Why? Because they could not see the unseen. So to be able to have people understand, interpret, and digest the unseen, there had to be experiments done, and there had to be social engagements and trust within the public to be like, hey, it's about time you wash your legs. Hey, it's about time you wash your hands. Hey, it's about time that we do these hygienic practices. Why? Because there's an actual rhyme and a method to the madness. It decreases spread. It decreases illness. It decreases a public disharmony, and so on and so forth. So a part of faith, again, is not just the ability to just pray and do this performative ceremonial stuff like what I'm doing here, ceremonial, under this full moon in Gemini, but it's also the ability to find the material understanding and the material, I guess one can say, proof to back things up, right? Imagine you being the person to discover or understand how atoms work, and then the average person's like, what the heck is an atom? Do you mean Adam, like Adam and Eve? But what is an ATOM? Like, what does that mean? Like, the ability to be like, okay, how do I break this thing down? How do I help you understand and conceptualize? How do we meet each other on the same page, especially when it's something that is, in theory, as people are hearing it, they're claiming onto their reactionary beliefs, currying and holding onto their rhetoric. They're hearing what you're saying. You sound crazy. It's impractical. It never has been done before. It can never be. There's all types of no's. but the ability to dodge those no's, not because you're arrogant, not because you're full of yourself, not because you are delusional. It's because you know what you know, but you have to figure out and put it into the practical, putting it into the tangible, putting it into the strategical, to be able to have other people march to the beat of your drum, your mission, your vision, because you're able to break it down and help them see what they now cannot see, they now cannot conceptualize. But the way that you do how you do, to help the collective, motivate the collective, educate the collective, lead the collective, work with the collective, stand in solidarity with the collective, however it resonates, will help them see the Seven of Swords in reverse. And that Seven of Swords really could just be like indecisiveness, distrust, disharmony. Well, I've been down this road before, I don't know. Or it could be like people saying nice things all the time, but it might be another scam. So it's very much of like, I don't know, Jack, I don't know if I can trust her. But to be able to dissuade those notions and those like, I don't believe it, it can't happen, I don't know, to be able to do that, you have to have people have faith. Have faith. But you have to give them something to believe in that is tangible, that is practical, not just lofty ideas like justice and love and harmony. It has to be the tangible. As we're talking about this justice, this harmony and whatnot, what brings forth the justice? What brings forth the harmony? Probably proper shelter, probably proper and healthy foods, probably healthy and clean air. You don't really want to fight when everybody got a place to live. You really don't want to fight when everybody got food to eat. You really don't want to fight when everybody's at peace. So you have to bridge those lofty ideas with tangible material goods. But how do you do that? You have to have the faith, but backing the faith up, you have to give something tangible for the people to believe in, because that's the expectation, right? I'm in harmony because I have my needs met. But if I don't have my needs met, Seven of Swords stays in reverse. I'm not going to have faith. I'm just going to think that this is all woo-woo in your head, nonsensical, fantastical things, and I'm just going to go about my business. It doesn't mean that I like the way things are. It does not mean that I like this system of things. It does not mean any of that. It just means that what you sounds too airy, too whimsical, too out there, and you haven't given me anything practical for me to ground these ideas and these theories and these rhetoric into tangibles. Because right now, tangibly, I need my needs met. If you want that Seven of Swords in reverse, my Virgos, I know you're good for it because you're a Virgo. Like, that's what you do. You put in that work. But if you want that faith for people to put in that work, you got to give them something tangible to believe in, something that they can feel. And that is my message for the Virgos. But you're good for that, Virgo. You legitimately are good for that. Like, you wake up in the morning trying to figure out how you can order things, how you can fix things, how you can arrange things, how you can tackle things. Like, that's your thing. But in the 2023 years, you're going to have to find time to woo-saw too. Find your self-care, find your faith, find your relaxation time, find your like decompress time, find your fun time. Because fun without no play just burns you out and makes you resentful. Especially because you will have setbacks, you will have antagonization, you might have people like, I don't believe, or I might be here, and the next year they fight, and the next year, you're going to have that. We're working with people who come from different backgrounds, different experiences, different. Like, it happens, right? But you have to keep that faith by having that consistency with the belief that turns into something practical, something tangible. Because I might fight with you, I might kick and scream with you all the way through. But if I know at the end it's going to benefit me in a material, then baby, we're going to fight and scream. But at the end of the day, we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. Period. Oh, my Libras. Leaves. That was too many cards. So what's going on with the Libra collective? I don't know. My window's kind of open so I can kind of see outside. It's already dark, but it suddenly just became darker. So I'm not sure what that is supposed to mean, but it just became a lot more darker. So Libras, are you walking through the dark night of the soul, following the jump to your own beat, trying to find light in the tunnel? What is this? Libra Collective. I kid you not. This time we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. Y'all saw me shuffle. I kid you not. We have the Seven of Swords, but this time upright. Okay, Libras. I mean, you are good for it, Libra, because you are air signs, cardinal air signs. So we have Quest here. So for my Libras, I feel like you're questioning things. This could be questioning society, questioning authority, questioning how system of things operate and set up. I feel like for a lot of you Libras, it's like, this ain't it, so I gotta figure out what is it. I feel like for a lot of Libras, that's what you're realizing. But it's not that impatient, quick, like not thinking, very fast, crash. I don't feel that's the energy, but I feel like it's one of those energies where it's like, I know what I'm here for, I know what my mission is, so I'm gonna keep my cards close to the chest, but know that I am playing a strategic game of chess. So it's like, I'm not gonna show you my cards, but just know I don't believe none of this. Just know that I'm not agreeing with none of this. Just know that I'm getting the information that I need, the skills that I need, have the right ears in my vicinity that I need, the backing that I need, the publicity, whatever the case may be, to maneuver. And again, I'm not feeling the energy of manipulation here. What I'm seeing with this is like, I know I'm against a Goliath. So I'm not going to let Goliath know my strategy. I'm not going to let Goliath know how I'm about to make this play. And better yet, I'm going to let Goliath think that I have no play. I'm going to let Goliath think that I have no moves. I'm going to let Goliath think I only play checkers, not chess. Because it's better for me to not even be seen, to not even be able to be detected, being elusive, right? Because if you stand on something, you stand on your square, let's say your square is universal health care, right? Publicly, you can't say someone is a capitalist, say somebody has a large investment in, let's say, health insurance, and we all know in America health insurance ain't all that. It's not good, especially in these days and times, to be out here like, oh, I don't believe in universal health care. I think everybody should either pay very, very expensive health care for services that they can't actually buy, and then we'll still have to pay a copay. What? Or I believe you to be very, very poor so you can get health care, but you're going to get inadequate health care, and it's really not going to meet your needs, and it still might be expensive, and you still might not be covered, but you're poor, so you still can't pay for it out of pocket. So you can't be a person at this time talking about, oh, I don't believe in universal health care. Because people are going to look at you like, what? Come again? What do you mean that you don't believe in universal health care? Like, what does that mean? Like, do you think it's okay for certain people to just be picked off? Do you think like certain people don't deserve medical care? Like, now you start looking real Michael Myers here. You start looking real Freddy Krueger here, right? But you know that people are not gonna, let's say, advertently be like, oh, I oppose to it, I don't like it, I don't believe people should get it. So they'll use scare tactics like, who's gonna pay for it? As we see the government sign billions and billions and billions to Ukraine, nobody's talking about how they're gonna pay for it when it comes to this proxy war with Ukraine and Russia. But when it comes to the actual material conditions of the people, then it's like, oh, we ain't got that type of money. So what people see it for what it is, then you can peel back the layer and be like, no, let's critique that. Let's analyze that. Let's pick this apart. Let's mince this out. Because for the longest, No money for the people, but money for war? Let's pull back how much the average American is making, how much the average American is spending on healthcare, how many Americans die because of the lack of access to healthcare or an inadequate healthcare. Like, once you start peeling back the layers, you have more of a reason and more of legitimacy and credibility to say what you're saying. But also on the flip side, people who were maybe hesitant or maybe agree with you but didn't want to say anything are like, no, actually I agree with you. Chest out, blue here, throat chakra, chest out. You're like, hey, actually I agree. Actually, I think universal healthcare does make sense. Actually, I pay too much in insurance and don't get much in return. Actually, I think this, that, and now people are like, you know what? Also include mental health. Also include dental. Also include this and that. Now we're expanding. Now we're talking. Now we're communicating. Because there's no American, rich or poor, black or white, male or female, young or old, who's going to say, man, I don't want no health care. I don't want no doctor's visits. I don't want no nothing. If there's something wrong with me, if I still feel sick, if I feel like I'm coming down with something, so be it. Let me die. It is what it is. Nobody at all. There's nobody who's going to say, oh, why should I have free universal health care like countries like Cuba or countries like, I believe, even Nicaragua? Well, why should I be like that, getting universal and top tier healthcare? Because Cuba is known for having top tier doctors who go around the world providing free healthcare. Might I add, top tier doctors, top tier education. No one's gonna say, oh, let me not get access to top tier specialist doctors, this, that, and the third, and let me opt into paying expensive monthly insurance payments plus a copay just to be denied for most things that I need. Nobody's gonna choose that. So once you dissect it and you mince it, you put it in digestible terms, and you put it into like real hardcore facts and numbers, the average American is not just gonna be like, I want it, but they're gonna say, I'm entitled to it. I demand it. It's my right to have it. And with that communication, those who were opposed to it because they benefit from the current system as is, now they're going to have to re-strategize how they can convince people that it's better for them to be price gouged or it's better for them to die an early and miserable and preventable death. It's going to be hard to conceptualize. So the quest may start off lonely, and it may start off as a barren desert. But with the conversation and with the engagement and with the facts and with the understanding and with the lofty ideas of like, we should have universal healthcare, and then actually putting into numbers of like how that would look like, how much of the budget that would take, how it would benefit people's lives, why it matters to you, how we can aggregate and get people behind, especially if you live in a ballot initiative state like I do in Massachusetts. It's very much of like, strategize, use the tools in your toolbox, in your toolbox. Put the wands and the wands together, the swords and the swords together, the pentacles and the pentacles together, the cups and the cups together. Who got these skill sets? Who can print out flyers? Who can do canvassing? Like, that's what you need to do, right? And at once, an idea that just remained an idea in your head and it was barren and nothing really could have come out of it, right? It was just maybe you and your friends or just you to yourself. Now it looks very practical, and now it's springing. Now there's vegetation. Now there's crops. Now there's grass. Now there's flowers. Now there's water. It's able to expand. It's able to have a life of its own. Because when people see that it's possible, when people see that, yes, it's a journey, yes, it's a quest, but it's possible. But if we have the faith and we move with faith and action, Libra cardinal sign, with that action, you can make things happen. Okay? And since we're talking about bodies, Libra is very much of that ass. Libra is very much the bodylicious. of the astrological side. But very much, put that spark in your, put that flame underneath your butt, put that spark, put that pep in your step, right? Get things to walking and talking, because people just need to know that there can be another option. And once people know that there can be another option, people just run with it, and they themselves give life to the idea. You might just start small with like just the concept of like, yeah, universal healthcare. Then it's like, oh, but what about childcare? And oh, what about hospice care? And oh, what about this and that? Now it can be more expansive to cover the majority of people's needs, because not for nothing, we're all going to need healthcare. If we have children, or we have children that in our family and in our vicinity that we care about, universal health care is very important. These are things that not only improve the lives of working class and poor class people, but these are the things that literally affect our everyday lives. We are the working class. We are the poor class. So these conversations are not just abstract in the void, it just having it just to have it. This is not a theory class. This is not a philosophy class. This is life. Right? But thank you, Libras. Let us move into Scorpio. Scorpio. What does the Scorpio collective have? What are they releasing? And what are they receiving in 2023? What is the karmic cycle of good, and even the karmic cycle of it? Because karma is not necessarily good and necessarily bad. It's just what that is. Just the receipts, mamas. It's just the spiritual receipts. You can have good karma, you could have bad karma. When things work out for you, especially when it is serendipity, especially when it is something that you didn't necessarily have to push for, it just kind of happened for you. Person put a good name for you, a good reference for you. You were just magically selected, especially around this auspicious Sagittarius energy. When things just work out for you, it's just like, yeah, I didn't have to do anything extra. Like, bam. If anything, I've gained more time. If anything, I've made more time, or whatever the case may be. But it's very much the energy of like not having to do too much. Things just falling into place as is. Our first card is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So maybe releasing something tiring, something exhausting, something extra, something daunting. With this Eight of Pentacles in reverse, could be a job, could be something that you've done for the longest. So this is like every week, every day, every month type of thing. And since we are talking about Scorpio, when it comes to the body, is very much that genitalia region, if you catch my drift, very much of the sexual organs, what lies between the thighs, if you catch my drift. And with balance here, we have the third eye. And we just finished Libra, and this is the scales. Interesting. So I feel like with this is like, for the Scorpios, if it just is too daunting, especially if it's emotional, if it's like emotional manipulation, or you feel like it's just not working out, just a lot of tears, a lot of miscommunication, a lot of just stifled energy, I'm seeing if it doesn't work, just releasing it. Literally. Especially this being like the spider, and it's like the spider's web. The spider web is supposed to catch things. Like, that's the point. Like, the spider weaves the web, and then like if a fly or some type of insect gets caught in it, it gets stuck in it, and then the spider traps it and eats it. I feel like there might have been a cycle in your life. It could be in regards to money, the lack of money. It could be in regards to financial abuse, or it could be in regards to doing something that you don't necessarily like or want because of the money. It could be exploitation, but it could also be like, I work this bum ass job because it pays the rent. Like, it just could be that simple. But I feel like if it doesn't resonate with you in 2023, you're just leaving it behind. And it's not even something where it's like, da, 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 I'm reclaiming my time, as opposed to like, this is just not it. Look, I'm too tired to be dealing with this. It's literally that. It's just, if it's not working, it's just not working, and you're not gonna force it. Balance here. Right? You see three individuals here all mean mugging, and then you see this person with a lab coat in behind with the scales. You catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. And I see with this, it's like you don't want to do something out of habit, out of tradition, out of saving face, out of like, these are my family, this is my friend, or whatever the case may be. I feel like it's more scary to stay than it is to leave. It's very much of like, I can't do this anymore, it's not working out, and I'm releasing it. But I feel like with finding balance, it's like also finding your truth, however that truth is, however that truth resonates for you, however that truth makes sense for you. I feel like with this, it's not just sitting in the energy of turmoil or disenchantment or anything like that. It's very much of like doing something about it. If you don't like something, do something about it. Scorpios, if you don't like something, do something. It's especially your fixed sign. I feel like the fixed sign thing to do would be like work it out, second chances, or even being sneaky, because no shade, Scorpio, especially we're talking about that genitalia. If it's not working out with him or her or they, I'll find me another him or her or they. That sneak shit. Sneaky link. But I feel like with this, it's like even that is just like, it's not that anymore. It's like being mature about it. You can be manipulative, you can sneak around, or you could just be straight up and down and be like, this isn't it. It's not it because of this reason. It's not it because of that reason. Or I need more of this. Or it's not you, it's me. Whatever the case may be. But here it's just like, I don't want to cause more karma, but I also don't want to play into other people's karma either. And I'm going to say this because it resonates with what's going on with the visions in my head. So I voted for like the first time in my big grown life, right? The last elections, and it was the midterms. And it's obviously the midterms, so it's local. And it's every 2 years. But last year was this year, November was my first time. And November actually falls into Scorpio season, so it's like perfect. And I did not vote for any political candidate. Even some that I kind of knew and I kind of liked, I didn't vote for them. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't vote for them. Massachusetts is a ballot initiative state. So that means voters get to directly vote on things. People who are able to vote in Massachusetts. So you're registered for vote, you meet the criteria. They are able to vote when it comes to ballot initiatives directly for the laws and the policies that they actually like, that they actually agree with. So when we vote in the midterms for our political candidates, we also get to vote on things like single payer healthcare, which actually passed by a slim margin, but it passed, and that's the important thing. And it's requiring that the state provide us universal health care, which it can, because Massachusetts is far from being poor, far from being financially unstable, far. This is old money. This is 13 original colony money. They got it. But with the classism, they want to act like they ain't got it. But they got it. They got it. Because the same people that they want to deny the health care are the same people taking care of their kids, the same people coming into their house, cooking their food, cleaning their floors, listening to their problems. Those are the people who will be affected by policies that actually improve their lives. So they got it. They don't want to spend it, but they're going to spend it because they got it. Whereas the working class, the poor class, legitimately don't got it. Legitimately. So with us voting for things on direct ballot, it allows us to see what we actually want, what actually passes. But just because we vote on it on the midterms does not mean that it will go through always as a particular law. Now, there have been things that passed like marijuana in the state and other such things. But this is where we will see where the class divide truly lies. And this will enable us to continue pushing for things that will improve our lives, even if the richy riches get upset by it. Because who's going to take care of your kids if they all sick and can't afford a doctor's visit? Hello, are we not in a global pandemic? So anywho, I didn't vote for the candidates at all because I don't want to tie my karma to the votes of these candidates. Now, granted, some of these candidates legitimately had things on their campaign that I agreed with. But I know how electoralism works, and I know how this duopoly works. It doesn't really matter what your intentions are. And for most politicians, I'm not going to say that they're evil, as opposed to they're just playing the game. But playing the game causes people to die in real life. Playing the game causes people to be sanctioned in real life. Playing the game causes children to starve to death in real life. I don't want to vote for a candidate who's going to vote on policy that gets somebody else in a foreign land got. I don't want to tie my karma to somebody else's decision because I was just following the rules. I was just voting. I was just participating, not asking questions, not involved with this other person's political alignment, not seeing this person's voting record, not even engaging in my own morals and ethics and discipline. No. I'm just voting for my team. I'm just voting for my mascot. I'm just voting for my favorite personality, my identity politics. Meanwhile, the things that I do believe in, the things that I do champion my character on, the person that I voted for is undoing all of that with their lobbyist alignment, with their funding, big funder, big donor alignment, with their backhand deals. So I didn't vote for any candidate because I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't do my thorough research on each and every candidate. I'm just going to be honest with you. But also, I want my vote to matter. Not just matter in the sense of, ooh, my team won, but in a sense of like, I trust that I vote in you and you're not going to fuck around and vote for drone strikes. I vote for you and you're actually going to improve the community and not fund more police that only solve 3% of crimes in the United States and most likely are the ones committing said crimes. It won't even stop a crime as it's going on, insert Uvalde police. So I say all of this to say is that it's not just voting. It's not just electoralism. It's not just making sure your team gets in. It's also about what you are aligning with politically, spiritually, karmically. And yes, it is even tied into your vote. Because if I accidentally harm somebody, I'm still building up karma regardless to what. It doesn't necessarily mean that I get to see the person cry. I get to see how my actions affected the person. I get to, be held accountable. Sometimes we do F stuff and people do F stuff to us. They don't get accountable. Like, they don't get held accountable. You don't get held accountable. It just kind of slips underneath the radar and then life goes on. But that doesn't mean that you're not still racking up karma. That does not mean that the person is still not racking up karma. Y'all still racking up karma. It's just that you're not seeing how that 1-to-1 ratio plays out, but you're still racking up karma nonetheless. I don't want my vote to be tied into no karmic evils, no karmic chaos, no dismantling of bodies, no killing of culture, no imperial hegemony. Like, I don't want my vote to be attached to that. So I use my vote on things that I actually know what they are, how they benefit, and how they resonate with not just, oh, I'm voting just to vote, oh, look at my sticker, yay me, but voting because I care about my community, voting because I care about health, voting because I care about improving the lives of the children within my community. I'm voting because I care about the quality of air and food in my community. I vote because I want proper housing. Like, that's why. That's why. And I know all states don't have ballot initiatives, only a small amount do. But this is why it's important to have these conversations so you can bring that into your state, into your back of the woods, to your hood. And you can vote on things that actually resonate with who you are, not just your team, but who you are in character, in discipline, in principle, in personhood. So you can stand on your square 360 and you don't have to half step. Well, like, yeah, they're bad on foreign policy, but like, at least they're good on Roe versus Wade. That's not good enough. The earth can't wait until you evolve in your politics. When you stop being scary and calling out things for what they are on some Julian Assange-ish. The world can't wait until you find your scruples. The world can't wait until you finish playing the game. That's not what this is. But Scorpio, I think you know. And let's move on. Thank you, Scorpio. Thank you, Scorpio. Let's move on to Sag. It is your season. So this could be very luminary, dreamy. Maybe the drinks is hitting. Maybe the drinks is hard. Okay? Don't drink too much, Sagittarius, because you good for a good time. You might not be here for a long time, but you are here for a good time. You're here for a litty time, and you're here for just the good vibes. That beautiful Sagittarius energy. That I can just kick it. I can just roll with it. Rock out with my sock out. Sagittarius. Ooh. What's going on, Sagittarius? The Ace of Swords in reverse. What you cutting on? Was it the alcohol? Or vices? Oh, let's see what that was. Y'all saw that? Enlightenment. Interesting. Twice we have similar cards that came out. So with Sagittarius when it comes to the body, if you wanted to know, it's the thighs. The thighs, thick on thighs. Thick thighs save lives. So with this, I think you realize something about yourself and you cut that shit off. I feel like with your 2022 year, so like right now, Sag, I feel like you've noticed something about yourself and you're kind of like, ooh, we're not doing that shit no more. Whether it's people pleaser, whether it's like even like brown nosing, trying to find people to like you, trying to find people to like take pity on you. It could be a character flaw thing. It could also be like stopping things to change things, taking a slower pace. But I don't feel like it's necessarily holding your tongue, especially since the Ace of Swords is here. It's in reverse. And then we have the infinity sign with this serpent here. I feel like with this, it's like a reinvention. But it might be like you having to go dark so you can reappear in the light. Kind of like a cocoon chrysalis thing, caterpillar turning into a butterfly. But I feel like with this, it could also be like seeing something. It could be like, all my life I wanted to be a lawyer, right? All my life I wanted to be a lawyer, went through the process, passed the bar, took the test. I forgot what the tests are called, but y'all know what it is. And did all that to do what you needed to do, climb the ranks, kiss the ass, you know, play the game. And now you're finally where you wanted to get to, and you're like, yeah, I don't want it. And people are kind of like, what? And you're kind of like, I know it sounds crazy, but I actually don't want it. And people are like, you know, we're about to fight you because everybody wants this. Like, you've been through so much. People have been through so much with you. People put so much hope and dream and admiration behind you. And it's just like, I know, but I still don't want it. And it's driving people berserk because it's like, once in a lifetime opportunity, and you're kind of like, I know, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I still don't want it. And I feel like with that is the truth. And it's crazy because people are going to look at you like, are you crazy? Solar plexus, with your chest out, confidence, you know, self-assurance, enlightenment, like you should be on the fast track. And you're like, it's because I was on the fast track. It's because I went through these cycles, because I peeked through the veil. Like I know what that is. I know how the system works. I see the backhand. I see the secret deals. I see the rigged game. And it's like, because I see it and I can't unsee it, I no longer want to engage. And it's like, instead of using my energies to, like, let's say I'm a lawyer, but I work for this corporation that takes advantage of people. So instead of being like a corporate lawyer, maybe I'm a defense lawyer. Maybe I'm a housing lawyer. Maybe I represent, you know, people with disabilities, like whatever the case may be, where it's like socially, it doesn't give you all that haha. No one's giving you the crown. Nobody is like impressed by the work that you do. Let's just be honest. We live in a classless society, so people ask you in the first 5 minutes of meeting you what you do, so they can evaluate how much of this performative relatability that they have to do, not because they want to get to know you, but to analyze your proximity to power and if it's worth engaging with you. Because if your pedigree says like minimum wage worker, then like, are you really that valuable? Yes, we live in that type of society. So a lot of people might look at you like, oh my God, like you graduated from Harvard, like what are you doing? But it's like, because I graduated from Harvard, because I know the game, because I play the game, because I peeked behind the velvet veil, like I know what that is, and it's not what you think it is. And because you don't know what that is, and I do, I'm going to use my quote unquote evils or my access or my privilege or my whatever to change the system, maybe from within, maybe from without, maybe from whatever. But it's like, I want to do better because I know better. And I don't want to just say that in the sense of like, it sounds good, put it on a t-shirt, but like, no, this is my principles, these are my disciplines, this is who I am. I'm enlightened now. I understand class struggle now. I understand, let's say, class warfare now. And because I am enlightened, because I have learned, I started off as a kid and now I'm an adult, I gotta move differently. I gotta do differently. I can't repeat the same thing over and over again and make excuses for it, because that's insanity. I can't say, oh, everybody played the game, but they was always gonna come back to the hood and help the hood, and they never do. But like, yeah, when I have the opportunity to leave the hood, I'm gonna be the one who's so exceptional that I'll come back. I'll be the one that comes back. Nobody else comes back, even though they promise, but they never come back. But I'm gonna be the one to make the same promise, and then unlike everybody else, I'm going to be the one who actually changes. And the gag is, even at the time, if you truly, truly believe it, if the system is as it is, you're not going to come back. Even if you truly want to, you're just going to either be so sidetracked that you don't come back, or you're going to be so removed from the people, from the experience, that you're going to look down at coming back. You're going to poo-poo coming back. You're going to look at them or it or whatever we're discussing through the rear view mirror and discard it for what it is, because in your mind, it's beneath you. Because that's how the system is. Whatever it is, that's how it's built in. You're supposed to kind of like pass the baton. You get yours and you keep it pushing. And then when everybody takes theirs and they exploit, they take and they take and they take and they take, there's nothing else left. And now when it's barren, there's nothing to take, then it's discarded. So I feel like with this, instead of you taking, because it's just so common for everybody just to take, you're going to do different, and you're going to implement. You're going to reduce, reuse, recycle, but also reinvest. We like that. Okay, Sagittarius, getting enlightened so you can free the people. We love that. Thank you for being with me. Let's move on to Capricorn. I know it's been a long reading, y'all. We cracked into 2 hours, but we close. All right, Capricorn, fantastic. Capricorn, what is you giving? What are you releasing in 2022 and welcoming in 2023? Judgment. Okay. Judgment for what? Scorpio? Grand ending, grand rising, grand beginning. What's the final decision? Interesting. They both flip over, so I'll take. Victim again. Okay. doubles. This is like 3 doubles. We had victim twice, we had enlightenment twice, we had abundance, I believe, twice too. Interesting. So with you, Captastic Capricorn, you would be Captastic. Everybody got 1 card, you wanted 2 card. Cardinal signs. Ugh. Anywho, earth signs. So I'm gonna take you back, Capricorn. With this judgment being here, I feel like rising from the ashes, but it's also like there's a new bitch in town. I don't know why I'm saying that. With 2 10s being here, being 20, Scorpio. Why did I say Capricorn? Oh, because it's the Capricorn part. Sorry, right part. Because judgment is usually, it's not usually, it is actually a Scorpio card. So I feel like with this Capricorn, Cardinal, Scorpio fixed, it's final. You said what you said, you said it with your chest, and you meant that shit. I feel like with this, it's like maybe they underestimated you, maybe they played too less, maybe they try to, do you wrong. But I feel like with this, it's like I'm gonna turn my L's into a win. Especially being victim here, and it's the center card here. Someone might have manipulated you, someone might have trapped you, someone might have maybe disregarded you, maybe they were preying on your downfall. But I feel like with this, it's like what goes up must go down. But I also feel like every dog has their day, in the sense of like maybe you were discounted, dismissed, minor setbacks, people didn't really trust in you or believe in you, maybe people were working against you, however it resonates. But then with the passion here, it's like I'm gonna take this L and I'm gonna motivate this to get this win. Because with orange being here, sacral chakra, so this is more like the your abdomen is your center, so this would be more like the Virgo energy. Well, not Virgo, but it'd be more like the center, like underneath the heart, but above like kind of like the rib cage area, right? Whereas the sacral chakra is more like the gut, the lower region, kind of like that scorpionic Virgo region of the body. And I feel like with this passion is like I'm gonna fuel this L and turn it to a win, a W. And it could be because you've learned from the past. It could be even like generational. Sacral is chakra. So this could be rootedness, family. This could be, when I think about the sacral chakra, I think about the hierarchy, the pyramid. So the pyramid of hierarchies by Maslow, right? And I think about the first 2 of the hierarchy, of the pyramid hierarchy, and I like to think of them as sacral root, because the first layer is like shelter, food, water, the very basics, right? When you're trying to get a feral cat or feral dog or some animal from the wild to like trust you, you bring them food, you start meeting those basic needs. The next level is like security, job, so it's more like, okay, getting back on your feet. And I feel like this could be a setback that happened for you Capricorns, and maybe you didn't believe that you were going to ever get restable, back on your feet. Maybe you felt like you were a goner, this is the end all be all, why try, why even play, not even play the game, but it's like, why even try, why even bother, like it's just not going to happen to me, it's not going to happen for me, like just hang it up flat screen. But I feel like with passion, it's like either you snapped out of it, someone snapped out of it for you, maybe you were reminded that you come from a great line of warriors, you come from the struggle, that unfortunately the struggle tends to be intergenerational, but the intent is the next generation always adds another layer to the cake, to the pyramid, to make sure that the children that benefit from those wins continue making further and further wins. So now it's not just winning for the sake of winning, or every generation just carrying an L, but it's like now we've gotten to the final stage, and the final stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization. So it's not just the education, the shelter, the food and water, the belonging. So belonging is like a sense of worth, the community. It's not just that. Now it's, I know who I am. I know my value. I know my own morals and principles. Like, I've defined myself. I think for myself, right? I think, therefore I am. That type of energy, right? Very much of a put together person. And with passion, I feel with this particular card is learning. It is growing, but it's also being reciprocant and a receiver and a giver in this aspect. It's like a give and take. It's like the infinity symbol, right? I feel with this passion that help you push through, overcome, define, especially in the year 2023 Capricorn. I feel like with this, it's like because I know I must do better, but it's also that energy of like, because someone did for me, I'm going to do it for someone else. It's very much paying it forward. It's very much giving back, but not at a charity like, oh, you're so destitute, let me give you $20. But it's very much of like, no, I teach these kids to do Little League. I actually love and giving an hour of my week to reading to the elderly. Like, I really enjoy planting seeds in my garden and inviting people to pick the fruits, the vegetables, the flowers, or whatever that makes their heart jolly. It's very much of like doing because it's pleasurable to do so. Again, pleasure in the work puts perfection in the job. When you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like something you got to do and just do it. It feels like something that you actually enjoy doing because you've mastered it. You've done it well enough before, but also you start to enjoy it because you know it. It's comfortable. It's repetitive, but it's also a sense of like, it feels good to give, like legitimately. It feels good to give. It feels good to care. It feels good to be in solidarity. It feels good to be relied on and be reliable. It feels good to have others be consistent and accountable to you. It's good when you have that balance, that energy that balances off of each other, right? It's a consistent energy. It's an ongoing energy. It's a receptive energy, right? It doesn't feel like someone's just extracting, because that's going to make you feel like a victim, and you probably are going to be a victim. And it's not just giving and giving because you're going to feel depleted, and you're going to feel like the judgment is that you're always there to be taken from. But when you are reciprocally getting, and it could be like, again, this little girlie, she's reading to granny, right? And this could be her granny, could just be anybody's granny. But she might be learning about what the granny went through, or things that are relatable. Let's say she doesn't have a granny. Maybe let's say, oh, this older woman is giving advice, is giving tips, is teaching. So it's not just, oh, I'm just doing this as community service, but it's a mutual effect. You're not just a quote-unquote charity case. You're actually a friend. You're actually a comrade. You're actually an ally. You're actually someone that I respect. You're actually someone that I look up to, right? Passion. And look out for that, because I feel like very much what you do, it's going to be spoken about, it's going to be detailed, it's going to be I don't want to say like keeping tabs on, but people are very much going to speak about it. People are very much going to lavish you with all types of appreciation and verbal kudos, and you might get featured on local or hell, even national news. Capricorn. Let me find out Capricorn's got a heart. And with Capricorn, when it comes to the body, it's the joints, it's the bone marrow, it's very much deeper than flesh. Okay, next up, thank you Capricorn for being with Aquarius. So what is Aquarius giving? What is Aquarius giving? Aquarius, the collective, what are you reading? And the year 2022. What are you receiving? What are some karmic messages, karmic gains, karmic losses for the collective? So we have Daughter of Cup here. Okay. Second card, or just the chakra with the card for the Aquarius collective. Okay, we have growth. Huh. Interesting, because I kind of felt that too with the Daughter of Cup coming out. With the Daughter of Cups coming out and growth, I feel like growing and learning in solitude, I feel like this is very much growing up. And I know how growing up is hard to do. I know growing up is growing pains. But especially if you're a person, especially Aquarius, 11th house, group collectives, you like to be the star of the show. You like to be in the party. You like to be in a mix. But sometimes you gotta grow alone. Sometimes you gotta go through it alone. Sometimes you gotta meditate alone. And I say this because, as you can see, it is a duck in the water, and you kind of see the reflection of the duck with this rainbow silhouette of the duck, right? But as you can see, it's kind of like in the middle of the ocean by itself, somber reflection. And it's giving me very much like when you take long walks and you're just letting your mind just roam, and you're thinking of things, but you're not thinking too deeply about them. You're kind of letting things roll off your back. Maybe you're trying to come up with a decision, trying to figure out what the next move is. But it's very much like you got to deal with you to figure out what's what. But you can't do that with so much noise, so many people in your faces, so many people demanding things. You wanted to go wild. You want to know what's the hash, what's going on the internet, you know, what's trending. You can't do all of that and hear your inner voice and have inner dialogue and figure out what's good for you and connect to your crown chakra as an Aquarius. Like, it's just hard to do all of that at the same time. And with growth here, if you can't do that, then you're not really going to unroot certain things that no longer suit you, no longer resonate with you, no longer make sense for you. And it's hard because sometimes, especially if you're accustomed to a certain thing, you're accustomed to a certain way, you're accustomed to certain people, it's kind of hard to realize that, this might not be it for me anymore. Like, I kind of might have like been through with this. I'm kind of like over this, especially when your friends and the people you're around, the people that you're so used to. Growth ain't easy, honey, but it is necessary. Personal development. But then you realize that these things don't resonate with me, but it resonates for the people that you're accustomed to being around. What do? Do you play yourself small and you continue to pretending like this shit fascinates you, this shit does it for you? Or do you cut the cords off and you're like, look, I'm not gonna make y'all change. I'm not gonna make y'all do anything that is not within your free will. But I gotta be honest and truthful with myself and for myself. And part of that being truthful is acknowledging that I don't like this anymore. I don't engage with this anymore. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. Or I'm just over it. Whatever the case be, however it resonates, like this just ain't it anymore. And as you can see with the growth, there's different vegetation, it's different types of leaves and foliage. But you see this one particular one here that looks kind of like a snake leaf. You see how it's closer to the door? And then you see the other ones are like closer to the actual, as you can see the vision of the card, closer to, let's just say, the open space, whereas this snake leaf is probably closer to the door. And as I read, it says emergency room. Usually an emergency room is because an individual, something happens to that individual and they gotta go through those doors with the paramedics and everybody hustling, bustling, trying to get them into a room. You can't take everybody in the room because everybody don't need that goddamn emergency surgery. Just the individual who was harmed, right? Same thing applies here. To transform, to go through the burning sands, to be able to ascend, to be able to cut and clear those cords, those ability to ascend, that ability to go through the dark night of the soul and come back a bigger and better and well-adjusted spiritual being, to go through those cycles of change and growth and metamorphosis, so to speak. You can't go through that with everybody there. You can't go through that with everybody there. You can't go through that with everybody in your face. You can't go through that with constant noise and constant distractions. You cannot go through that process because it will literally stagnate you. And I'm actually talking to myself as I'm saying this, because like I'm literally, as I'm describing, looking at my snake plant. Now, I've had this snake plant. I got it from Trader Joe's, to be honest with you, like 2 years ago, right? Around the beginning of the pandemic. And I loved it because I wanted something to nurture. I was trying to get into like actually growing things. I was actually like growing. I was a whole junior green thumb gardener. I was a whole green assassin chickie. And I felt proud of myself because I planted the seeds. I watched them grow. I watered them. Like I felt like I did something. And truth be told, I did do something. Okay. But with the snake plants, I didn't have another pot. And my whole thing was like, when I get to it, I get to it. I'll just exchange the pot. When I get to it, I'll exchange the pot. When I get to it, I'll exchange the pot. Especially since it's in an indoor plant. It gets enough sun. It's not dying. It's not like looping over. Like, what's a couple of more months in the pot? Finally get to replanting it because I was able to actually get some free pots. My neighbor was releasing them and I scooped them. Reduce, recycle, reuse. Duh. I actually say what I say in my readings and I actually practice them in real life. So I repotting thing with the plants, and I realized that not only were the plants suffocating the individual leaves of the snake plant, but I realized the top looked like a normal full snake plant. But at the bottom, it was very, 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 very thin. Kind of like when you have hair damage and you start seeing your ends and they're very stringy and straight, but like the rest of your hair is more full and more livelier. And then that's when you realize like, oh, I either have heat damage or some other type of damage, because that's not supposed to happen. Especially if you have big, thick hair, like that's not supposed to happen. So I realized that my inconsistency with my house plant and my lack of meeting the need of just saying pushing it off to next month or another month or this and the third caused the plants to grow improperly. Now, is my snake plant healthy? Yes. Is my snake plant looks relatively normal? Yes. But now that they're in a bigger pot and the actual roots get to stretch out and they get to breathe, I can see where my delay actually delayed the growth of the actual snake plant. So what I learned from that experience is when the pot is just too small, just replant it. But even if I don't replant it, the plant will be alive, the plant will exist. It will just be more adaptable and it will change to make room for itself, but at the cost of its own development, right? You can stay in these stuffy situations, Aquarius. You can stay in these inadequate situations, Aquarius. You can stay minimizing yourself and shortening yourself and castrating yourself. Well, I mean, if it applies, hell, castrating yourself or downsizing and trapping yourself, reducing yourself, boxing yourself in, however it resonates with you. But ultimately, you're only going to cut your nose to spite your face. It's not going to benefit you in the long run. Because when it don't work, when it ain't it, it just ain't it. You see, the rainbow can only be seen within. The rainbow is a reflection of this duck. It does not exist without this duck because it is this duck's shadow. Only one person can go through those doors and transform. Whether you want to look at the doors as a legitimate emergency room, burning sands, a ritual, however you want to perceive it, this still is what that is. And you're not going to be able to go through that transformation and hold on to the things that no longer serve you, hold on to the past, hold on to people, places, and things that don't matter. However it resonates, you're not going to be able to be the better version of you by holding on to things that repress that better version of you, including you. Change occurs when the student is ready. The question, Aquarius, are you ready? Are you ready to go through that transformation? Are you ready to invest in yourself? Are you ready to grow? Even if it means growing past your confines, aka the pot. Even if that means having to be repotted into a new environment, into a new situation, and leaving them old things behind. And that's what I got. Ooh, Aquarius. Wowzers. What you gonna do? Stay the same or change? And Aquarius is the knees. Like Megan, she knows who she is. It's the knees. It's very much of the calves and the ankles. So last but definitely not least, it's the Pisces. It's the 12 types. It's what you don't see. That is the unknown. That is healing. That is spiritual. But also that could be plot twist. Secret enemies. So, too many cards. What is giving for the Pisces collective? What are we leaving behind in 2022? And what are we welcoming in 2023 for the Pisces collective? Interesting. We have the Tower card in reverse. And we also have the Two of Wands in reverse. I wasn't really going to take the Two of Wands, but I was like, hey, it's right there. You might as well flip it over. So we have reversals here. Now let's see what the Chakra Wisdom Oracle core. What is going on for the Pisces collective? Interesting. Bittersweet. You and Capricorn, both y'all need 3 cards. Okay, Pisces. With the moon in reverse here, I feel like something is either has not been addressed, something that's literally right underneath the surface. So it's like, are you okay? Like, let's say you went into work and someone asks you, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. And the person you actually have a problem with asks you, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm okay. Does it look like I'm not okay? Damn, why is everybody asking me, am I okay? Can I just... And it's like, yeah, you're not okay. You say you're okay, but you're like, obviously not okay. So like, if you were okay, an okay person wouldn't have that reaction. So like, you're not okay. So like, why aren't you okay? And why aren't you comfortable with saying that you're not okay? When you're like, clearly not okay. So it's right underneath the surface. With the moon in reverse, interesting because it is the full moon reading, the visual. I feel like it's either something that you have not addressed, something you're waiting for someone else to address, or something that you feel like you could just ignore or mask away because you don't want to address it because it might be that volatile, or you just might not want to see it. It could be one of those So it might be one of those situations where the example is TJ Holmes, who got caught being a cheater, a serial cheater at that, cheating with women in his news media workplace. Just all types of like F-boys behind the scenes that got leaked, but it didn't match his brand. But also, it goes to show you that just because someone says that's my friend and we work together and y'all have couples date nights and your kids babysit each other, that don't mean that something can't be happening behind the scenes, if you catch my drift. And I feel like with this moon card in reverse, it's like seeing things that typically are not meant to be seen, especially with, again, the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden laptop leak, these backhand shady deals with social media platforms and oligarchs and billionaires. Like, there's a lot of things coming out in the weeds that was not supposed to come out. But it's kind of like when you lie, it becomes a bigger and bigger problem. When you lie, then you have to remember the lie, then have a lie to cover that lie, then have a lie to cover up the lie to cover up the original lie, and so on and so forth. And it just becomes a whole entangled mess. And when it becomes that big and that atrocious, things are bound to fall out through a wash. Things are bound to come out through leaks and accidental, in quotation, breaches and inside information, because it's just that monstrosity. It's that much of a monstrosity that you can't even sweep it underneath the rug. It is that pink elephant in the room. And no, you cannot sweep it or kick it underneath the rug. And with this being the center card here with the Two of Wands in reverse, I feel like with this, it's like, this is what that is. You have to deal with it. Because the Moon card is like, I dropped my pants, I dropped my shorts, people can see my butt now. Like, I'm exposed. And then with this Two of Wands in reverse, it's very much of like, now they see me, they caught me, right? It's not, now people see me for who I am, TJ Holmes, like I am a serial cheater at the workplace, that I begged my wife for forgiveness like 2 years ago, but I was cheating on her for the last 5 years. Like, what? Like, it's like, people see you for what that is. People see the situation for what that is, and you can't now turn around and be like, oh, I'm sorry, that's not what that is. Ooh, you caught me in a bad time. It's like, no. There's a pattern of behavior. That's not a bad time. That's just you. That's just what that is. And you can't unsee it, Pisces, because like, that's what that is. And not for nothing, Pisces, you can go down a good rabbit hole. Not for nothing, Pisces, you could drink yourself into a mania spell. Okay, not for nothing, Pisces, you could be stubborn in things that I don't want to say are like duh, but you might be like, no, I don't want to say dumb, I don't want to say naive, but it's giving me, if you can understand this reference, it's giving me very much Rose from the Golden Girls. It's giving me very much small town, simple, very much like I follow the rules and I play the game the right way, I draw within the lines, very much of that, and thinking that there's a prize for that, thinking that there's accolades for that, thinking that that makes you somehow like cheat proof, or somehow lie proof, or somehow first in line proof, or something like that. If someone's really realizing like what they thought it wasn't that. And with the bittersweet, it could be in relationship. This could be a mother-daughter relationship. It could be a friendship relationship. It could just be with the female line. It could be sisters, because this is the Gemini reading. But and when we come to Pisces, when it comes to Pisces in regards to the body, it has to do with the feet. But it could be one of those situations where you're stepping on somebody's feet or somebody's stepping on your feet. It could be a situation, this is throat chakra, conversations not being had, so maybe being left on pause or waiting for someone to respond back. Maybe wanting to make a peace treaty, maybe wanting to start things over, but the feelings aren't reciprocated. Maybe it's an incident that happened and it's kind of like, oh, I want to try again. I want to, do over. But the person's kind of like, yeah, I'm all set with the do-over. And sometimes it just be like that. Sometimes endings can happen kind of dramatically. And that was the right amount of disrespect, the right amount of offense, the right amount of this ain't it for you to be like, I'm out. But also, sometimes it's not dramatic, but we take it as dramatic because it fits our narrative. Whether we have internalized a victimhood mentality, whether we have internalized this, I'm a black sheep, I'm just so unique, I'm just so different, whether we internalize that we are always right, whatever the case may be, sometimes we have a hard time of being rejected or a hard time seeing things for what they are because they destabilize and challenge our preconceived notions. So it's easier to either vilify the other person or the situation, or to make yourself seem as if you have done nothing wrong, Because in your mind, you may have thought it was nothing wrong, but in the person's mind, it's like, no, that was your last chance. And because it's your last chance, this is it. I feel like someone has realized that maybe someone has met their capacity with them, and like they have realized that maybe someone who's left them out in the cold, or someone they left out in the cold, how much that situation, that person matters. And now it's one of those situations where it's like, you never know what you got until it's gone. And I feel like a person may have realized that what they had was invaluable, but at the time they didn't treasure it, they didn't see it, they didn't get it. But now that whatever that it isn't there anymore, they're realizing that they are the fool's gold, that they played themselves because what they had was invaluable, but at the time they didn't get it, they didn't see it, they didn't respect it. It's kind of like Pisces played themselves. It's kind of like you swiper, no swiper yourself. It's kind of, again, it's one of those things. It happens. I mean, look at TJ Holmes, like, and of course it's bittersweet, the throat chakra here. But what I'm seeing with this ultimately Pisces, the Pisces collective, it's like an ongoing thing. I feel like it's not necessarily the past, the present, or the future. No, present, yes, but not necessarily the past or the future. It's like the present, it's like the now, it's like ongoing. And I feel like this is more internalized because it's not thoughts, because the moon here is very much Pisces energy, but Pisces Cancer energy, but also it's in reverse. So it's like internalized. So it's like inner dialogue. It's like your thoughts, but it's like how you feel about things. Maybe not even your thoughts, but it's kind of like, damn, I remember that donut shop. Like, I remember when we got our first strawberry cheesecake donuts. Damn, I wonder how they are. It's kind of like that type of thing, where it's not like no hard feelings, no hatred, but it's kind of like things were left unsaid. And with this Two of Wands in reverse, it's kind of like there's nowhere to really go from here, but like to move on, so to speak. It's kind of like a bittersweet situation, kind of like a summer fling. It was hot, it was passionate, but then it fizzles out. And again, I think oftentimes people see endings when it's like this. It's not very much clean cut. They see it as they have to resonate, not resonate, but like they have to resolve it. It has to make sense to them. They have to make some type of final analysis. And it's easy for most people to be like, oh, that person was just an idiot, or that person didn't get it, or that person lost out, than it is to be like, let me reevaluate how this thing went down. What was the last time I was in this situation? What was the last time I was dealing with this situation? What was the last time I engaged with this person? What goes down? What typically happens? Like, what is the interaction? What was the last time that there was a one-to-one engagement? How did that go? And being able to see it from a 360 bird eye view, but not from a point of view of like, this is my position and I was right and they were wrong, but just seeing it for like how it tends to be or how things play out, you might start to see how things happened, how it resulted in the final ending, and perhaps learn from the situation to be like, you know what, and the next time, this is how I'll engage. And the next time, this is what I'll try to be better at. Or whatever the case, however it resonates. But I say with this is more like maybe like ghosted, but it's not necessarily that, as opposed to, you know how when you swipe on Tinder or one of these dating apps and you like have high expectations and maybe you let your fantasies and you let your maybe hopeless romantic thing go on a little too far. So it's like, you know, we look good together, they do this type of job, you know, they have these interests. I mean, like, you know, they're this age, I'm that age. I think we can kind of like make it work. I think we can kind of like blend it together. And then you meet the person in real life and you're kind of like, less than my expectations, but you know, this could work. And then over time you're like, yeah, this is not gonna work. This is not, no. So it's kind of like, yeah, I had high hopes for that, but like it also wasn't gonna work out. So no love lost, but also shit happens, life happens, and life goes on. So Pisces, life goes on. But sometimes endings don't come completely put together, and sometimes people don't end up happily ever after, or situations don't end up happily after. Sometimes things fizzle out. Sometimes things aren't as good as a match as it originally seemed like it would be. Sometimes people just outgrow situations. Sometimes things are temporarily, everybody got their seasons. Everybody in some scenario, some situation is a villain, is a saint, is a hero, is a sinner. It just happens. Sometimes for a rhyme or reason, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the season, sometimes it's not. And I think for Pisces, going on and moving on forward, be more flexible in your thinking, do more research, as well as expand what you already think is. Do your own research. Try new things. Be around different folks. Don't be a pick-me. There is no prize for being a pick-me. Whether it is in a relationship, whether it is in regards to meeting certain status quo, whether that means whatever. In someone's book, in someone's narrative, because we are the collective, we are the global collective, we are human beings. There is someone who's going to judge you, going to look differently upon you, going to this, that, and a third. And it's very key to not think that your way is the only way, or to perceive things from your own and absolute point of view, because whereas people are easy to dish it out, they are not so easy to eat it back in, right? It reminds me of social media, that man who made that mathematical somewhat grid where it was like F around and find out, whether it's on the x-axis or the y-axis. The same critiques that you can make, someone else can make about you. And that is your challenge for 2023. It's an ongoing thing. Develop yourself. Because if you think your personality is, let's say, sex, or your personality is, let's say, being a good girl, or your personality is, say, being the status quo, then you're going to be sadly mistaken. And also reduced, and even jealous, even envious, because you're trying to achieve something that doesn't exist, and when it doesn't reflect your motives, then you may become spiteful, or even say malicious sneak things that you're not aware of, because again, the moon is in reverse, the two of wands in reverse, but instead of dealing with why they're in reverse, you're more so focused on projecting an image that may not even be really who you are, while playing ops against the people who are brave enough to stand in their truth, be who they are, and challenge the status quo. It reminds me very much of people who live as the background actors in their lives, but then when they see someone else shine, they're out there with the knife behind their back. There's some people who are comfortable playing small and want other people to be small around them because they're not comfortable being confident and shining. But when they see other people shining and other people breaking out of the mold and breaking out of the box by testing the waters, Sagittarius energy, breaking the bounds, Gemini energy, full moon energy, magician energy, saying it with your chest, Mercury, speaking it into existence, and doing what they want, these people feel triggered because they don't have the audacity, the confidence, or better yet, they're the type of person envious. You don't deserve it. Therefore, I'm going to make sure to take it away from you, to block it from you, whether it's blessings, opportunities, whatever the case may be. Just follow me, Pisces. Very much of a hater-ass energy. Make sure that's not you in 2023. And make sure it's not the folks around you in 2023. that is the collective for the reading. That is a doozy. Yikes, we're almost at 3 hours. So let me not hold y'all too long. Hopefully, y'all, this reading resonated with you. If it did, give this video a big old like, comment, subscribe, and share if you care, if it resonates. Any portion of this particular reading, sun, moon, rising, Venus, however it resonates, let it be known in the comments. Drop your comments down below. Let me know how it went for you, how it goes, and if it resonated with the 22 portion or the 2023 portion or whatever the case may be. And if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Facebook, Paint Your Truth, Instagram, Paint Your Truth _ don't forget the underscore, Twitter, Paint Your Truth. And if you would like to show your gratitude for this particular reading, or you would like to sign up with me and book a particular reading, whether about love, life, family, career, however your topic of inquiry is, definitely show your gratitude via Cash App, $VWCINE, or reach out to me via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. If you are in the Massachusetts area and you would like to participate in your very own process painting workshop, where I, VCNA, provide you with all the painting materials, furnishings, paints, and all that jazz, and help you curate the particular painting workshop that resonates with you, your friends, your family, however and whenever you would like this particular workshop to fit into your life, you can definitely reach out to me via email at paintyourtruth.art@gmail.com. I live in Massachusetts, so obviously I will be only be able to provide services and access to those who live in Massachusetts. But if Paint Your Truth is a workshop that interests you, you want to get into your self-care, you want to get into your mental health, you want to debrief and shoot the ish and paint your magnificent masterpiece with friends, family, people that you call buddies, people that you feel safe and grounded with, definitely reach out to me via email. But that is all I have for y'all for tonight. Hopefully this Gemini full moon energy does you good. This energy will be lasting for the next couple of weeks, relatively 6 weeks. But definitely let me know what resonates, what hits with you. But also, just be mindful to be gentle with yourself. We have a whole year to tackle, and we are just closing up this year. And this year has been a doozy, like the last couple of years since the Rona. But we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this with solidarity. We're going to get through this with vision. And we're going to get through this with action. So hopefully the rest of the year goes well. Hopefully get more yeses than no's. The answers that you're waiting for, hopefully they come through. The messages, the confirmations, the new beginnings, the new starts, the romance, however, whenever, hopefully it is at your best interest. And hopefully 2023 only gets better from here on out. So with all that being said, y'all, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved, and I shall see you on the next video.